Hello and welcome to an all-new episode of Anime Brain Freeze. We are your judge, jury, and executioner hosts.
I am John.
And I'm CC, and when there's just too much cool anime to watch, we've got you covered. Today we are doing an improvised show, which, as you might or might not have already guessed, is because the Anime Awards happened again, the Crunchyroll Anime Awards. Is it still called the Crunchyroll Anime Awards, or is it just the Anime Awards? I don't remember.
As far as I knew, it was just the Anime Awards.
Okay, alright. Well, the Anime Awards, it still has a big old Crunchyroll logo on the side, though, so there's that. I don't know, fucking know. But yes, we're gonna talk about that, and because I think we have already talked about them twice in the past, if I'm not mistaken. At least once.
I believe twice, yeah.
Yes, so we wanted to make this a regular occurrence, so we're not going to have a fancy name for this episode too. It's just going to be the Anime Awards Special 2022. And so let's get right into it. There were a bunch of nominees for a bunch of different categories, and we felt like, hey, this is always a nice opportunity to talk our favorites from last year. I mean, some might not be on this list, but that's what our Best of the Season awards are for. So we're just going to discuss the one picked by... How does the selection process work? I think it's the selection is picked by the judges and then decided on by the public, or is this a mix?
I'm pretty sure that's how it is, yeah.
It was either this way or the other way around. It was this one version where nobody is happy in the end. They made sure of that. That's how it worked. So we're going to look at the shows and whatever, the picks for the different categories. And then we're just going to use that to talk about the year 2021 in anime. And hopefully have a good time. So, John, why don't you start us off with the first category?
First category is nominees for Best Japanese Voice Acting Performance. Mm-hmm. So, who do we have here? We have Ayane Sakura, who played Gabby Brown in Attack on Titan. I guess we're breaking it up the different seasons of the final season because couldn't make up their minds.
Yes. Part 2 is still running, so...
Yes. I don't know if I said this before, but the absolute balls of them to call it the final season and then say, hey, just kidding. Part 1.
But I feel like maybe they didn't know they would have to do it this way. So maybe, I don't fucking know. Maybe we were like, yeah, it's just going to be the final season. And then after they were like done with a couple of episodes, we will not be able to finish it without that whole thing completely falling apart if we have to finish all the episodes and all the story, the entire story be in the course of this number of episodes. So they took a break. And as we discussed in the previous episode in the sneak peek, that was a wise choice because the part 2 looks really good. So, yeah. But yeah, who else do we have?
We have Kiyoshi Kobayashi as Daisuke Jigen from episode 0 of Lupin the Third Part 6. His big send-off before he retired from the role. So that was, very nice. Natsuki Hanae as Odokawa from Odd Taxi. Aoi Yuki as Kumoko from So I'm a Spider, So What? Kanata Aikawa as Ai Oto from Wonder Egg Priority. And then we had the big winner, Yuki Kaji as Eren Yeager from Attack on Titan.
So, what do you think of the winner? Would that have been your choice, or were some of the other ones more, where you said, no, this is the standout performance from last year?
I mean, out of all of these actors and actresses, the only one I don't know off the top of my head is Kanata Aikawa, but here's the thing. You've heard all of these other voice actors and actresses so much that, gotten used to hearing them, got to know their voices and their styles. Like, Kiyoshi Kobayashi played Jigen for over 50 years.
Yeah, around that.
So he played that role for a long time, and he made it his. And, now Jigen is voiced by Akio Otsuka, who, is another big voice actor, is very near and dear to our hearts as well. But it's not really the same sort of energy because specifically old man Jigen was just a sassy jerk who didn't want to deal with
Yes.
Lupin's shenanigans.
I feel like Kobayashi sounds a bit more, I don't know, grumpy, it's more the grumpy type, and maybe, like you said, a bit snide, cynical, whatever. And maybe a bit more of a jackass occasionally, like tried and true worn jackass. And I feel like Otsuka always has his voice just has this more boisterous tone to it, where it feels like there's a bit more, I don't know, he feels bigger. I mean, he's also very versatile, but I feel like their voices are not even that comparable.
That's why I always hear Solid Snake, so it's like...
Yeah. I always hear Blackbeard from One Piece. I feel like Kobayashi is kind of on this list as a, I don't know, Lifetime Achievement Award thing, like kind of on an honorary mention because it was only in one episode. And it's kind of like, hey, we wanted to... Yeah, again, to honor his like you said, 50-year-long performance in this role. So I don't know. I mean, maybe that should have been an award by itself, but for last year, and especially since it was only for one episode, I don't know. It wasn't that it was a bad performance, but it also wasn't like a super standout performance. Like we have seen some other cool performances of Jigen. I remember was that Lupin Part 5 where he has the sniper duel. And I felt like that was a really good Jigen episode. I wouldn't necessarily say that the performance in episode 0 of the new season was anything, definitely not worse, but also maybe not better than that. So I don't know. I probably just, would have given him his own award for, holy shit, how did you do that for so long? That's the award. That's what it's called. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, Natsuki Hanai, I feel like, he's also been in a million different things. Like he has shown himself to have some wild range. He, and Odokawa is just like very, very low, very grumpy, very. But then on the flip side of the coin, you have him playing Tanjiro in Demon Slayer, and it's like it's a different person.
Yeah,
it's almost like
completely different voices, yes, and performances, and it's great. And I don't know the performances. Odokawa is great, but I don't know if it's because of the performance, which is good, no doubt about it. But I think for Odd Taxi, it's mostly the writing and what he says, and not necessarily how he says it. He brings it across super well and everything. The more, kind of mysterious, a bit grumpy, very straightforward when it comes to, telling people what he thinks about them. So he brings that across very well. But I think what I like most about Odokawa is actually, what he says, and not necessarily how he says it and how it's performed. So it's a really good performance, no doubt about it. It's hard. He would definitely be one of my top picks up here. Definitely. Probably one or two. But that's mostly more because of what he says than maybe how he says it. Because he kind of talks same-ish. The performances, maybe it's too subtle for me. I don't know, because I'm not used to that in anime. I liked it, but it felt like he was very much talking in the same voice the entire time of the show. Maybe except for the finale when he has Also, people, this discussion is going to be full of spoilers, necessarily. So don't, be angry at us if we spoil anything. And, I'm saying this because I wanted to talk about Odd Taxi now and the end of Odd Taxi. And he has kind of like not switch in character, but he has a big character turning point at the end of the show that the entire show builds towards incredibly well. And then he sounds a bit different, or not. It's not like a switch, and he immediately sounds different, but you feel like some more nuanced things are coming into play there at this point. So, yeah, definitely there. But before that, it feels like he's mostly, always talking in like the subdued, cynical, straightforward voice. And it's good without question. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't feel the range in that. Maybe because I'm used to so loud performances from anime. I don't know.
I mean, I guess maybe with within the confines of that role specifically, maybe not, but
Mhm.
across the course of Hanae's career, yes.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Like you said, you just need to take a look at Kanjiro, which is a very loud, emotional performance, like in general. So, yeah. And I watched a bit of One Direct Priority. I thought Kanata Aikawa did a great job. Also, is a bit of a loner in that show in the beginning, and also has to bring across that she is not completely confident. And then later, at least in the first episode, and then later on, she has to do a bit more with her character. But I didn't finish the show, so I didn't get a full picture, and I didn't watch So I'm a Spider, So What at all. So I can't speak for the performance of Ayuki.
I mean, a friend of ours had watched that and linked some clips of some absolute golden clips of Aoyuki saying amazing things such as "Sorry, I don't speak isekai,"
Yeah, I remember.
which is again, that's the writing, but still brilliant. That's good.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
really strong.
Yes. Ayane Sakura is like kind of the polar opposite of Natsuki Hanae's performance, but kind of in the same vein as that it's kind of a sameish performance because she's mostly angry and loud in the first part of Attack on Titan.
I mean, that's a lot of the characters she plays.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know who else did she play in the past.
Well, you've definitely heard her before as Uraraka in My Hero Academia, among many other things.
It's a more sympathetic character though, or performance, and less bratty. Less bratty. She's more cutesy in that role. She's definitely not cutesy as Gabi.
No.
Yeah, she's a bit of a dick. Yeah.
I mean, well, we can't get into it, but
we can get into it, at least as far as part 1 is concerned.
Yeah.
But, it's understandable, absolutely. I mean, I talked about that in our review of Attack on Titan. But yeah, it's also kind of like a very straightforward performance for most of part 1. She changes at the very end. She has to, face certain things and has to, and her character changes a bit, I guess. But she definitely has a lot to work with, or more to work with towards the end of the first part. Yeah, I think I'm happy with the winner. I think Yuki Kaji did a great job as Eren, because Eren as a character has a lot more to work with in this season of Attack on Titan in terms of range, in terms of different performances than he had in previous seasons. I feel like in previous seasons he was mostly like the loud, typical shonen, here we go character, right? Or angry shonen character, depending on what way you look at it. And then he got whiny in season 3 for like one episode, and then changed again back to here we fucking go. So I feel like in this season he's intentionally a completely different character. Again, he's very subdued, but he's so good. Like, I think alone the performance, his confrontation with Reiner in the basement is worth that award for him, because that performance is so fucking good and so threatening. Like the read between the lines thing, like all the words unspoken in his performance is so great, and and riveting, and ties you to your chair. And when he has to get serious and loud, he will do that again as well. But mostly it's like this completely different performance from what the character was before that. And it's great to see him like that, and to see him and hear him being able to convey that convincingly. And so I think for just this turnaround alone, and for this completely opposite portrayal of what the character was before this season of Attack on Titan, I think this is well deserved. Because I feel like while it's super hard, probably, I'm not a voice actor, so what the fuck do I know? But as hard as it probably is to switch from one role to another and then completely change up your performances, doing that in the same role is probably even more difficult. So, yeah, I feel like Yuki Kaji definitely deserved this. How do you see it?
Yeah, I mean, you get so used to, again, I'm not an actor either, but I imagine you get so used to playing the same character that then when the story and the role itself changes, that to be this flexible is really good. And I mean, again, he's another actor that's had, I think his career started in like 2005, 2006, and he definitely has he's had a lot of work to his name over the past 15 or so years. So seeing him jump around from like role to role, and especially this one in particular, is just really, really awesome to see.
Yeah, absolutely. So I agree with this choice. I think I probably would have made the same choice. If it was any other season of Attack on Titan, probably not. But since he delivered such a killer turnaround performance in part 1 of the final season, I think this is well deserved. And you could also consider this to be, I don't know if he was nominated in previous years for his role as Eren, but I feel like if he deserved it especially this year. So that makes sense. Let's move over to the next category, which we probably aren't able to say really anything about. John, did you watch any of the movies? I watched one of them.
I mean, technically no, but I watched the TV recut version of Demon Slayer Mugen Train, so I kind of forgot that Shirobako the movie came out, and I did want to see that eventually. Josie the Tiger and the Fish is only in recent mind because I work at a retail job, and one of the things I have to do is put out the movies every week, and that was one of the new releases this week. So, yeah.
I feel like I'm so neglecting of anime movies. I haven't even heard about any of these aside from Demon Slayer and Evangelion, which I haven't watched yet. I planned to do that, but I forgot about it. I wanted to revisit the Rebuild movies, and I haven't done that yet. So
I've seen people talking about Bell, but I don't know anything about it.
I haven't heard about that either. I mean, I know Shirobako the series, but I wasn't aware there's a movie. I don't know what words bubble up like soda pop. So I'm a bit lost here. So I can only change Demon Slayer and that one. So I mean, it's well deserved. There's a reason why it is one of the highest grossing animated movies of all time now, and not only in Japan, but it was like the 5th highest grossing animated movie in the US box office last year as well, I think. Dang. Which for an anime movie, okay, Jesus fucking Christ, right? And it was a worldwide phenomenon, kinda, as far as I had seen it, but not comparable to Japan, of course, because Japan, the numbers it made in Japan were just insane. So, yeah, I mean, that's not an indication of quality or anything that a movie is successful and popular, not at all. But people definitely saw it, and people definitely liked it, and I was one of those people, and I didn't see it on the big screen, sadly. I wanted to, but COVID, and that's a bummer. But watching it here, it was amazing. It was amazing watching that on TV still, and I assume you had a good time with that part of the story in the TV version of that.
Yeah, no, I don't feel like I missed out on anything from watching the TV version, because a lot of the time stuff gets cut down. Like, was it what Gundam series was it? Was it Unicorn? Yeah, where they did some cutting around the corners. I didn't like it. I don't know if I'd like it more if I watched the movie version, but watching the TV version, I was like, yeah.
No, I've heard everywhere that the TV version of Unicorn was absolute dog shit, because they cut too much out so that it didn't make any sense anymore, basically. I mean, they cut out some stuff for the TV version of Origin too, but it was not nearly as bad, and they didn't remove super integral story scenes, which apparently they did for Unicorn. So, which makes you wonder why even release a TV version of that if you can't do it correctly. Right? I guess money, but still, it didn't work out, because then it was a shit product, and then, you can't sell the TV version of that either. So,
yeah, I walked away from the end of it like, what?
I mean, you walk away from the end of some of Gundam like that anyway. I feel like it might be. Well, the ending of Char's Counterattack was weird as well, but it's still one of the classics. So, but yeah, Unicorn went even more crazy, but I feel like it made sense in the movie/OVA version. So,
I mean, and then sometimes you get the opposite version where the movie recut is better. Like slogging through the original 40 something episodes of the 1979 series is like watch the movies, man.
Yeah. So
like
there's
sure there's small things that get cut out, but in the grand scheme of things, they're not important.
Yeah, I wonder if there are any new TV series adaptations of movies that add too much, where it becomes where the pacing gets bad in the TV version. And I have to be honest, I haven't caught up to Demon Slayer yet. I plan to do that on the weekend, so I don't know if they added anything from the to the TV version. As far as I could see it from the episodes I watched, it was identical to what I saw in the movies. If they added any scenes, I didn't notice. If they, took away any scenes, I didn't notice either. So it felt like it was kind of identical. I would have to look it up somewhere. Someone probably went through this and was like, hey, here they cut 1 second of this scene to make it work. And here they ended earlier, so they would have an episode cliffhanger and shit like that. I assume there's something like that in there. But I so far I haven't noticed. We'll see how when it comes. I can assume when like the cascade of battles happens at the end of that arc, of the Mugen Train arc, then maybe they have to do some switching up and so on to make it work in episode format, because some of those battles are pretty damn long, and I don't know if they accounted for that when making the movie version. So I'll see. But yeah, just to sum this up, I haven't watched any of the other movies, so I would have to agree with the choice here. And it's not a bad choice, definitely. Demon Slayer is a super enjoyable movie. It looks fucking fantastic. And it's ridiculous. The music is great by Yuki Kajiura. The characters are great. Like they're so even the character we just met becomes very endearing very quickly. And it's a really good movie. So I'm glad that people who only watch the TV show also get to experience a version of that. And that's cool. So yeah, I have no gripes with the winner. I assume you do neither. So
I mean, it was a fine choice.
All right. Agreed. So let's move on to the next category. What is that, John?
Best comedy.
That is more your topic than mine. So how about you tell us about the nominees and what your choice would be, what the winner was, and so on.
I mean, I only watched like a handful of these, so
yeah, same.
The first choice is "Don't Toy with Me," Miss Nagatoro, which that
pass.
I feel like what's that other show? I feel like I conflated this series with another one, and its name is escaping me. Karakai Chozu Takagi-san.
Okay.
Because it feels like this. It feels like this very specific genre, this very specific subgenre. Excuse me, of getting teased by your crush and like. It's
called a "Please Step on My Face" senpai anime. Or so I've heard. It's not my cup of tea because I feel like that girl is being an asshole the entire time. So why would I want to watch that?
Yeah, I mean, like I look at those two shows and in my brain I was like, oh, you mean they're the same thing? Also, more to the point that apparently Takagi-san has a third season coming up. When I had a moment a few months back when I was like, what do you mean there was a second season? So that's how out of touch I am on that.
Okay.
The next one was Heaven's Design Team. I have no idea. Do you?
I heard good things about that, but I haven't watched it because, comedy. I mean, the concept sounded interesting. I think it's just people in heaven basically having to design the perfect place. I don't remember. Maybe I'm misremembering the plot or whatever, but I remember when it was described in the summary, it sounded funny, but never so funny that I was like, I'm going to check this out.
I see what it's about. It's about outsourcing the creation of your world to other people.
Yes.
It's all right.
Yes. So it's no analogy to anime whatsoever.
No.
But yeah, that sounds interesting. Yes.
We got Life Lessons with Uramichi Oni-san.
We both watched at least a bit of that.
Yeah, I finished watching it, and boy, that show's brand of humor doesn't pull any punches.
Mm.
It's supposed to make you feel uncomfortable. So yes, I mean I enjoyed the show for what it was because in the end it showed that some of the characters that we thought in particular were big jerks were like, I guess they weren't so bad after all. And we sort of see the comeuppance for the director of the show that they all work on. So hey, don't be a jerk to the next jerk.
Yeah, I mean, but the most important thing for this category would be, were the jokes funny? I guess.
It kind of laid on a lot of the same jokes.
Yeah, that's
So,
what I gather from what I watched. Because I didn't finish it after like 4 episodes or something. It was like, okay, I get it. That's it.
yeah.
But, yeah, it was fun while it lasted anyway.
Mm.
But yeah, I thought you would watch Comic Can Communicate. I'm surprised you apparently haven't touched that yet.
Netflix.
All right.
The winner for this was Comey Can't Communicate, but and I wanted to watch it, and I was almost prepared to pay Netflix for the privilege to watch the show, but apparently they screwed up the subtitles so badly that I was just like, why would I pay for this service if you're just gonna not care? Go to smaller services like Crunchyroll, Funimation, and High Dive consistently get it right, but Netflix can't.
Because they care, and Netflix doesn't. Just one more genre they can put on their service, and that's it.
Where I'm always ranting and raving about how much Netflix makes me mad, so we're going to leave it there.
Yes, let's talk about good things. The other two contenders in the in this category, comedy, Odd Taxi. I would not say that is a straightforward comedy. It has some very good comedic scenes in it. When the comedy hits, it hits. But that's not the key thing about this show, I feel like. It's more of a drama or a
mystery.
Yeah, dramedy. I don't fucking know what you would call it. Yeah, it's a bit of a mystery. It's a bit of everything, but I feel like the comedy is not the key focus. Even though two of the main characters are comedians, kinda. So, or two of the side characters are comedians, and our main characters listens to them all the time. So, sure, comedy is definitely part of that mixture, and there are some great jokes in there. But I feel like it's not, I would not classify it as comedy, if anything. It would be hard to actually classify it in any of the other categories, because it's a weird genre mix. It's just a fucking weird show. Thriller a bit, it's a bit of thriller, it's a bit of comedy, it's a bit of very small bit of action. It's there's so much mystery, like you said. There's a bunch of different things in there. It's like a Coen movie or something. Like, I don't know, maybe some stuff is Tarantino-esque in it. So yeah, how do you classify those? It's tough. It's tough. So yeah, I wouldn't put it in comedy. It's a fantastic show, but comedy, I don't know. Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, as though. That would have been my winner, John, because I haven't watched Komi Can Communicate. Life Lessons with Uramichi, Onisa, I didn't finish. Odd Taxi, like I said, the other two I haven't watched either. One of them I definitely didn't want to watch. But yeah, I had a really good time with Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, and I was laughing a lot. So,
Yeah, 100%.
Yes, I mean that's also sometimes that's more of just a relaxed, cozy live show with not that many jokes, and the jokes are kind of, some of them are big, laugh out loud jokes, but a lot of them are more like these small, cute snicker things, where it's like when Kana does something fun and cute again, or Toru lusts over Kobayashi or something. That's the jokes. Some of those might be same-ish, but I feel like it's much more easily to consume in terms of the comedy of this show, and it doesn't feel too offensive. I mean, that show is much more. That season was much more fan service laden, I feel like, than the previous one. But that is not the only comedy the show does. That's not the main focus of the comedy. It's just part of that. And I feel like there were some really great jokes in this show, and it didn't always do the same thing in every episode like Life Lessons with Uramichi Onisan did. So I feel like this should be the winner. The judges or the audience disagrees and chose Komi Can Communicate. There's a reason for that, probably because that was one of the most highly anticipated anime in the previous year. So if you ever get around to watching it, John, you probably would agree with the choice. How do things look right now?
I don't know.
You would probably choose Dragon Maid too, because that's one of the few shows you finished from this category.
Yeah, Dragon Maid S is. I think we both agree. It's
Yes, from the shows that we watched from this list, which are 3, we would choose Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid as winner for Best Komi. It doesn't mean that we necessarily disagree with Komi Can Communicate as the winner. We just haven't seen it yet, and I don't plan to, because the show needs to do a lot of things to get me to watch a romantic comedy. That is not my genre at all. So there needs to be something in there that needs to catch my attention. I mean, being like the social introvert and everything, and that being the aspect is cool and it's different. But also I know why the show is doing that mostly. And I don't know. I feel like, okay, I get it. I don't know if I want to watch a lot of episodes of that. So yeah, I hope everyone who watched this enjoyed it a lot and agrees with the choice. What do we have next? Best Fantasy, which definitely I watched more of than comedy. I think you only watched 2 shows of these, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, do you want to talk about these 2?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the case study of Vanitas, I think we talked about half of these so far, I think. The case study of Vanitas was, just a really great alternate history fantasy type thing, and it takes me a lot for me to get interested in something with vampires, because stuff like that and zombies are just like, it's so overdone. It's way overdone. But this was case study of Vanitas is fun. It's got great characters. It's got all the things we love. It's produced by Bones. It's got music by Yuki Katsura. Watch the show. Just watch it.
Yes.
And then there was To Your Eternity, which was, man, that show was also something else. Do
you want to cry your eyes out?
A little bit. It was also really, I think, we both agreed that earlier on it was a bit stronger, but that didn't mean the show itself was bad. I mean, it set up for some stuff in the second season, which is coming later this year, I think. So I'm looking forward to more of that too.
Yes, same. I thought both of these were fucking great. I enjoyed them immensely. I feel like the question is, what does this comedy go for? If we go by the fantasy elements alone, I feel like there's probably more fantasy in Case Study of Vanitas, maybe? Because of all the vampire shit, and because it's, it's alternate history stuff with a bit of steampunk mixed in, but it's also a bit of science fiction, I guess, although it's set in the past, so that doesn't necessarily make sense. But I feel like there are a bit more fantasy elements. I think the most fantastic element in To Your Eternity is our main character. Yeah, there are the knockers and, his creator and everything. But aside from that, that is a very human story with, I guess, not so much fantastical elements. And it's set in a very, very human world. It's a very familiar world. They're not really, like I said, aside from the knockers, there are no fantasy elements in this. So I don't know if it actually works for this category as much. It's a fantastic show, but I don't know if I would consider it a classic fantasy story.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that.
So, these 2, I would choose Case Study of Vanitas, but I watched actually a bunch of those. I think the only one I didn't check out at all yet, which I regret because I've heard so many good things about it, but I, gave it a glance, saw that it was an isekai show, and just completely ignored it. And that is Mushoku Tensei, Jobless Reincarnation, which apparently is fucking great. Like both in terms of animation quality, also as in storytelling. So I definitely need to check that out once the second season comes around, or before the second season comes around, because I've heard so much good shit about it. And that's why I am sad I can't say anything about that. The others, that time I got reincarnated as a slime, is a fantastic fantasy show, and that's probably the most, aside from Ranking of Kings, that's probably the most classic fantasy thing, because it is set in a typical fantasy MMORPG world, game world, whatever, with all these classic fantasy races. There are dwarves, there are goblins, there are Oni creatures, werewolf, there are demon lords, there's everything. So everything that you would expect from a classic fantasy setting is in That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. So it's got, it's got the environment down and everything. And its second season was great. It got very dark very quickly compared to the first season that also had dark elements, but second season upped that up a bit. And I enjoyed that a lot. I'm still enjoying it. I also enjoyed this third season. So I feel like this is definitely up there, at least for this category. One Direct Priority, like I said, I only watched a couple of episodes of, and I heard it really shit the bed by the end, so I'm glad I didn't finish it. But what I saw in the beginning was interesting, because it was this weird mix, a bit of, your standard high school setting, but once they entered like this kind of Alice in Wonderland dreamlike world, it became very much like a Persona game, where you have like these really fucked up, weird enemies that look really, really more like horror than anything else, and like coming straight from the imagination of some fucked up weirdo and stuff like that. So I enjoyed that a lot. Not something I would consider classic fantasy, and I would consider the show more of a surreal psychological thriller, maybe. I think it goes more into the sci-fi direction also later in the show. So maybe that's not the best fit for this. The last one on the list, I sadly haven't caught up yet with, and I'm so mad about that, because that would probably then be my pick, because what I saw from it up till now was fucking fantastic, and probably one of the most classic fantasy things I can think of, and that is Ranking of Kings, which has this really unique storybook-ish art style that is kind of like, you rarely see that in anime, where it's more like this, it looks like a classic storybook fairy tale thing, and Japan did a lot of those for adaptations of Western fairy tales back when I was a kid, and those aired on RTV. And I didn't know they were anime versions, but they were just cartoons, and a lot of those looked like this. So seeing a show adapt that style again was like a nice travel back to my childhood in a way. And then again, then also the story and the characters in this, from the setup alone, are fantastic and quite unique, because our main character is mute and deaf. So that's super interesting. And the fantasy setting, like the kingdom that is all set in and everything, is unique, and all the characters are surprising in a way. You think you have them pack them down, and you think they are working in a certain way, and then they surprise you and do something completely different, but it all makes sense. So I can't wait to actually talk about the show in a review of ours, and once I finished it. But I'm totally not caught up to it. But what I've seen until now, I loved, and everything I heard from what is coming after the stuff I watched already seems to be even better. So can't wait. So retrospectively, I'm probably going to choose Ranking of Kings for this. But right now, the winner chosen by the judges or by the audience is That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. And I guess I'm fine with that, just on the virtue of it being, the most classic fantasy thing on this list. Just in terms of actually what I liked more, I probably would have chosen Vanitas, because it's just a better show. That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime is a great show. It's super enjoyable, but I feel like there's more depth in Vanitas, and it's just more unique in a certain way, and the main characters are more interesting and everything. It's just all around more interesting than That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. It doesn't mean that Reincarnated as a Slime is uninteresting or anything, or is boring, or the characters are super stereotypical or anything. There are some surprises in there too, but a lot of them are archetypes, and it's mostly there to entertain you and, be this nice thing with a bit of politics mixed in between, which is cool and stuff like that. But I feel like kind of Case of Study of Vanitas has a bit more substance to its storytelling and its characters. So I probably would have picked that, even though maybe there is more classic fantasy in that time I got reincarnated as a slime. But I'm fine with the winner. I feel like if Slime Time didn't get it in previous seasons, sure, that season 2 is a good pick if you wanted to give it to that show at least once. And I feel like that is a good choice. So yeah, sure, let's do do it, do that. Okay, let's move on over to the next category because we got still a lot of them to go. John, what do we have next?
Best Action.
Yay! Okay.
So the nominees are Attack on Titan Final Season Part 1. I'm really kind of done with them breaking stuff up like this, but whatever. Yeah, Attack on Titan. Well, the first part of the final season had some good stuff going on, but I think the second half, what we've seen so far, is probably going to be the much stronger half in terms of that sort of thing. But there was still some neat stuff in the first part of the final season. So
absolutely, the big raid of the city comes to mind. The Marley, capital of Marley. That was definitely one of the standouts. Or when Levi had to fight off the Titans in the woods or stuff like that. But in general, this final season of Attack on Titan is not as, I guess, wild action heavy as the previous seasons. Maybe definitely not as much as season 3 part 2, which was an all around action blockbuster. I feel like there is more going on right now, like you said, in this part 2, but it took some time getting there. So yeah, maybe not part 1. It will come around next year. Part 2 will definitely be on the action list next year. So yeah, I feel like if it should get that award, it should be next year. Yeah, what else do we have?
Demon Slayer, the Mugen Train. We just talked about that, and yes, absolutely.
Yes.
UFO table on a movie budget. Yes.
Yes. That's definitely one of the top contenders. Like, I think I've not seen such. I mean, aside from one other contender in this, probably I have not seen such riveting action scenes in quite a while. It's ridiculous, especially the final fight in that movie or that arc is fucking bonkers. I'm not as fond of the first big fight because it's got weird CG tentacles in it, and that looks a bit wonky even for UFO table. But that what comes after that, and some of the stuff that comes before that is amazing, just amazing. So yeah, it definitely belongs on this list.
We had Jujutsu Kaisen, the second core. Boy, that last fight at the end, man.
Yeah. Not only that, I feel like this entire season, like the second core was fucking great.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Ridiculous. But yeah, definitely the standout is the final fight, especially because of how the music was used for it, with Cold Rain and everything. And holy shit, I watched that fight so many fucking times. I showed it to so many people because it was like, you have to watch this. This is why anime is fucking cool. It's ridiculous. So, and everything, a lot of the fights that come before that, like the square of between I forgot the names of the characters, between Todo and what's our main character's name?
Yeah, Itadori.
Itadori, like their first face off is really great, and then when they team up later to fight that plant demon thingy, I forgot her name. There are so many good action scenes in this, and even some of the fights of the smaller characters and everything look just the second core of this. I mean, the first core already had amazing action scenes, especially the final fight there, but here in core 2 it's just bonkers, walls insane action from beginning to end, really. And Mappa just went crazy, even crazier than they go in Attack on Titan right now, I feel like. So definitely would write it there. What else do we have?
We had SSSS Dyna Xenon.
Is some good mech versus kaiju action.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I on that vein,
Mm.
I'm surprised Back Arrow didn't get in there, but I guess it's probably better to pick one mecha thing than another. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe more people watched than Xenon also. I feel like Back Arrow was one of those shows that people who watched it loved it, but I feel like not that many people watched it. So maybe it wasn't on the short list. I don't know.
Um,
Yes, but it
uh,
would have deserved the action in Black Arrow would have made it deserve a spot on this particular category. You're right.
yeah, Dynazenon had trigger being a trigger again.
Mhm. Absolutely, yes. I feel though, like I don't know if some of the fights in Gridman were better, not necessarily. I mean, I liked what happened in terms of action that they actually used the different parts of Dyna Xenon, the different vehicles to actually, certain effects in the fight, and not just a combined, Megazord form,
Mm,
you know, whatever it was called, Dyna Dragon or whatever. And I like that. But a lot of that show was also more, again, the psychological end of things. I feel
right.
like the focus wasn't even so much on the action. The action was definitely there and was great, but that was not the key focus of the show. It was more the characters and their holdups and everything. And then it had some nice kaiju battles on the side. So yeah, I loved it, but I wouldn't definitely pick it as a winner for this category. Um,
Yeah, me neither.
Again, Wonder Egg Priority. What I saw of it, the action scenes were great, really well animated. Can't really say much more about it, but I didn't finish that show, so uh, I I couldn't choose it even if I wanted to. And I feel like what I've seen of the some of the other shows here is definitely more impressive than what I saw in Wonder Egg Priority, Demon Slayer, and Jujutsu Kaisen, especially. So that means we have one last one that is Vivi, which is also definitely a top contender, especially because some of the hand-to-hand combat fights in that show. The one against one of her sisters in the space station comes to mind.
Mm,
And the other one of the other big ones is the fight against the guy with was it a guy with the gun arm? I forgot his name. Or
yeah, I
probably,
can't. I know who
yeah,
you're talking about.
yes, but that was also ridiculous. I think the best thing about this, and this is, I don't know if it was the same action director as the previous seasons of Attack on Titan, but the tracking shots, the camera work in Vivi was fucking amazing in in the action scenes and in the fights. Like not only in the fights, but also when she steps on this plane thingy and flies through the factory to get to her sister that is trapped in the middle of the factory, and the opening, the OP of the show's place and of the show place and everything, the OP
Hmm.
theme. That was really well done. So yeah, I love the action scenes in Vivi as well. So, John, what one would that have been your pick?
I mean, Jujutsu Kaisen won, and I think that's a really good pick.
Yes, that would have been my definitely. I mean, you heard me just drone on about it just now, and I feel like there is not even. I mean, I thought Demon Slayer looked fantastic. I thought Vivi looked fantastic, but like in terms of, it's not even quality over quantity. It's quality and quantity with Jujutsu Kaisen, because
Mm.
there was so many action scenes in this, and pretty much all of them look fucking great. So if you want just your pure fucking action feast, that's the show you want to watch, because there was just no break. it's, it was just actually the entire time, and I don't know how Mappa kept up that quality. And then you think they're done with it, and then they come back and deliver the best fight of that season.
They just keep going. It didn't stop.
Yes, you think you see the tag team fight with brother. And you think it can't get better than this, and then they do their fight against was it three brothers or two brothers? I don't remember. Against the in the end of the show where the cool song plays, and then it's like,
Two.
yeah, and you think, Jesus Christ, what the fuck? So yeah, in my opinion, this is the absolute winner of this category. There was no doubt in my mind. If it wasn't on the shortlist, I would have already complained. I would have called them mad. But if it didn't win it, then that would have been. I mean, sure, there could an argument be made for Demon Slayer in terms of, I mean, maybe art design and everything, and that it's, some of the choreographies maybe a bit more effects heavy and everything. I don't know, but just in terms of pure action choreography, in terms of camera work, in terms of presentation, that also includes the music and everything, I feel like it doesn't get better than what Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2, Core 2 had to offer. And it seems you agree. Or do you have some grievances with that?
I mean, the problem is I like half of these, but you can only pick one.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think that Jujutsu Kaisen is a well-deserved win.
Yes, absolutely. Agreed. So, what do we have next? Best drama.
Mm-hmm.
This is interesting. Also, probably, again, one of the characters. I don't know, John, how much did you watch of those? 3 shows? Or 4? I don't know if you watched Kageki Shoujo.
I watched 3 of them.
Okay.
I mean, I feel like I had heard of Kageki Shoujo, but I didn't watch it at all.
Okay. So, yeah, let's start us off with the shows that I watched that you didn't watch. And those were Wonder Egg Priority. Again, a bit of that anyway. And the drama setup was good. It was steeped a bit too much in a mystery box thing and, being a bit obtuse in parts, trying to decipher what is actually happening with the characters. Where does the depression come from? What is their psychological damage? Which is interesting. But it also judging from what I heard, it later gets too lost in its own sci-fi lore thingy and weird plot twists and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I can't be the judge of that because I didn't finish it. The other one being 86, which is a great show with great dramatic aspects, but it's something you've seen before. It's just well done, but it's very much like, hey, here are these characters that are forced into war, and then a lot of them die, and that's the key drama for it. Some of that is really well done, and I liked it a lot, and I'm looking forward to finishing the 2nd season. But I feel like some of that I have already seen done in Iron-Blooded Orphans. Not necessarily better. I actually think 86 does some of the things more effectively that Iron-Blooded Orphans did, or some parts of Gundam in general when it comes to showing the horrors of war. And even Attack on Titan in that regard is kind of a bit better. So I feel like this would have fit better into category like best sci-fi, best sci-fi action or whatever like that. Because that's where I would see this. Yes, it's also a drama, definitely, because like I said, a lot of people are dying and, you get into the background of some of the characters and so on. But I don't know. For this, in terms of character drama and everything, I feel like that is not necessarily where I would see it at the top. Yeah. So these are the 2 shows, or like I didn't watch Kageki Shoujo, so I don't know about that. But these are the shows that I watched that you didn't. So let's talk about the shows that you also watched, John. What would be your first thing you want to talk about?
Oh man, I mean. Let's start with the winner and then work around that.
Yes.
So the winner was To Your Eternity, which is a good pick. It's a good pick. Because, we talked about it a few minutes ago. Very good human story wrapped around this one singular supernatural element. And the stories of all the characters that Fushi is surrounded by is, really good stuff. And, it definitely slots into the drama category very well. But then we have stuff like Odd Taxi, which, what else can we say about it?
Only that it's a fantastic show and everyone should fucking watch it.
Yeah. And then the other was Fruits Basket, which is, just your drama to the max, but it doesn't ever feel like overbearing or like it's, overstaying its welcome. It's just really great character writing with, mystery in there to keep you strung along. And it's just really good. Just It's a three-way tie. It's a three-way tie. It's a three-way tie.
Hmm. So yeah, the winner was To Your Eternity. I don't know how I feel about this, John. I think the drama in To Your Eternity is great, and like you said, it's a very human show. It's very interesting to see all of the story from Fushi's perspective, but also it being told through the perspective of the characters that he meets, and all of these stories are kind of deeply sad in a way, the way they play out. And you know, there's riveting character drama in there partially, but also mostly the drama stems from, you know, all the tragedy that happens in the show, right? It's mostly like you are introduced to a lot of sympathetic characters and you immediately know, yeah, they're not going to make it out of here. Especially after, you know, the first thing you see in this show is the first human we meet dying. So
Yeah.
that's the one thing. So it feels like, I don't want to call it a one-trick pony, but that's what it does, right? It shows you how fickle, how fleeting life is, and it, you know, shows that effectively through the lens of a person that is immortal and can't die. So that is an interesting concept. I feel like the drama in Fruits Basket was more personal. I feel like I felt more engaged because we spent so much time with these characters through 3 seasons, and we got to learn to get acquainted with them so well over such a long time, which of course is unfair because To Your Eternity is the first season, Fruits Basket Final is the final season of a 3-season show, but also you don't spend that much time with any other character in To Your Eternity as much as you do with Fushi, and Fushi is always a bit more alien than the other characters because he first has to learn how to be human. And that's why some of the stuff that relates directly to him is not necessarily as impactful as the stuff that happens in terms of drama in Fruits Basket. Because you feel for all of these characters, except for the assholes. I mean, by the end of the show, there's only one really big asshole, and you even understand her motivation in a way, even though it's incredibly fucked up. But, you know, even our big bad is turning over a new leaf, I guess, at the end of the show. So, yeah, but I feel like just the drama in Fruits Basket being so personal and so slowly well developed, so meticulously well developed, had more of an impact on me and felt more like I was, you know, more in that story. And when all of that drama gets resolved and turned to a happy end, it felt so rewarding and like you were rewarded for watching this show. Just spending so much time with it, and all the harrowing scenes you went through, and all the, oh god, why are they doing this? No, I can't watch this anymore. This is so, oh god, I feel so bad. And all of that, by the end, you have like these multiple moments of incredible catharsis. And the show does that so well. And I feel like that is also part of a good drama. If it manages to turn around all those bad feelings into good feelings and make it convincing and feel like you didn't waste your time. So, yeah. For me, it would have been Fruits Basket the final season. I'm sorry To Your Eternity. I love you, but this, I'm kind of surprised. Maybe more people watch To Your Eternity. I don't know, but I feel like Fruits Basket deserved this. I haven't even talked about Odd Taxi in that regard, but just, you know, repeating what I said earlier when we were in the comedy section, I feel like Odd Taxi is also not a straightforward drama. There's some very drama-esque aspects to it, especially when it comes to the main character and his backstory. But compared to some of the other stuff, compared to Your Eternity and compared to Fruits Basket, I feel like it doesn't work as well for this category. So, yeah, for me, it would have been Fruits Basket. I don't know how you feel about it.
Yeah, no, you're right. But Odd Taxi does fit the drama category, I think, at least a little bit better.
Then comedy, yes, I would agree.
So I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I could go one way or the other between Odd Taxi and Fruits Basket.
Sure. Could work. I could live with that. Probably, if it was either of those two. But again, I would have felt the most content with Fruits Basket the final season. And I get why To Your Eternity got it. It's very, very loud drama and has some other great neat aspects to it. And it is a bigger story than Fruits Basket. Fruits Basket is a smaller story, even though it has a lot of characters, but it's very much centered on one family, kinda, and the people that meet them and everything. It's still about life and death and God and whatever. But I feel like it's much, again, it's more personal, it's more focused, and To Eternity is just trying to tell this big, grandiose story of humanity and what humanity is with all its ups and downs and everything, which is great. But also, I kind of dig more the smaller personal story when it comes to drama, I guess. So, yeah. Bummer. I would have chosen Fruits Basket final season, but hey, it could have been a worse choice than To Your Eternity, absolutely. So, that's still a good pick. Wouldn't have been mine, but yeah, still a good pick. John, the next category would be more yours than mine, but I don't know how many shows of these you actually watched. I guess only 2, just like me. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Best Romance was the next one, and I really only watched 2 of these. There was Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatoro. Horimiya, I hear is good, but I just never bothered to watch it. Comey Can't Communicate, we touched on, which, again, a big winner, depending on who you ask. The Duke of Death and His Maid, I remember kind of looking at the CG in the show and just sort of being like, nah, I don't think so.
Yeah, but speaking of CG, that is actually good.
Yes, Beastars, yes, good CG. Would you call this a romance, though?
No. I mean, romance is definitely a part of this. Either if you want to look at Legoshi and Haru, or if we want to look at Legoshi and Louis. Depending on how you define that. But the romance is definitely a part of this. But also, in the second season, I mean, it just says Beastars, so I assume it's meaning both seasons. I'm not sure, but the first season wasn't last year, was it?
No, I'm going to run under the assumption that they mean the second season.
Yes, and the second season didn't have that much of the romance in it. I feel like the first season there was much more the focus on the romance between Legoshi and Haru. I feel like, and the second season is mostly focused on serving the murder of Tem, and resolving Louis' story with the Yakuza alliance and so on, and the relationship between Legoshi and Louis, which also you could maybe see as a romance if you wanted to, but also this show doesn't really straightforward go there, so that also doesn't really quite work. So I feel like it's a weird place, has a weird place in this category. I don't know how to feel about it, but then again, I don't know where else to put it in terms just of genre, because
drama?
Yeah, I guess drama works the best. Yeah, it's weird that it's not there instead of romance. Drama probably works the best, especially if you consider the big bad of that season. That fucked up horror. If we had a horror category, I would even put it even more there than in romance.
That, and one of the plot elements is all acting and part of being the theater club.
Yeah. So definitely more drama than romance. It's really weird that they didn't put it there. Maybe they had to make a compromise. But it's maybe, I don't know. Weird choice. A bit of a weird choice. I mean, I can see why they put it here, and like I said, romance is definitely an aspect of this. But definitely wouldn't have been my pick for this. So the only other show I watched is Fruits Basket, the final season, and sure, that would have been my pick here as well, because there is a great central romance in this. There are multiple romances in that show, and they are done really well. And the ones that come to a romantic conclusion are incredibly rewarding, especially our two main characters, or two of our two main characters, Haru and Toru. Sorry, Haru is in Beastars. Toru and Kyo is fantastic, and it's kind of what you want to see in such a serene. Well, it's not even serene, really. It's a high school romance, but it's anything but serene. It's anything but happy-go-lucky. It's anything but vanilla. It's these are incredibly fucked up people through their families and everything and their past experiences, and the miracle of them actually, against all odds, finding love with each other and not being fucking destroyed by the people around them or their psychological trauma through, and just helping each other out of it through love. That's a great romance. That's what if I want romance, I want it like this. I don't want like the back and forth. Oh, will they? Won't they? Oh, look, she stumbled over his leg and now she falls on him with her boobs or shit like that. That's not what I want. I want this deep, fucking heartfelt, traumatizing love that needs to be worked at and that needs to be worked for and that rewards the people who stick with it and then makes them better people. And that's what Fruits Basket does. And it's so rewarding. And you want these people to experience this kind of love. You want them to be happy together. By the end of the show, you are so anxious that this won't happen for one reason or another, because the show definitely throws some last minute twists at us that make you think, uh-oh, maybe this isn't gonna happen. And then once it actually happens, you're so happy for them. You're so glad that this is a romance that actually worked out. And there are some other characters who get a happy ending in terms of, romantic relationship too. And that makes you happy as well. I'm happy for Yuki. So yes, I think Fruits Basket is not only a fantastic drama, but also a fantastic romance. And it got snubbed again. What's wrong with this world, John? I mean, I haven't watched Horimiya, so I can't speak for or against it, but fuck.
There's no justice.
There's no justice in this world. I mean, I'm not even a big romance guy, but goddamn, even I was enthralled by the romantic plots in Fruits Basket. So how the fuck, if that show manages to catch an old grump like me for a genre that I do not watch at all, really, then how the fuck did it not win this category? I don't get it.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yes, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe Horimiya does something even better, but I have my doubts. I have my doubts.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bummer. But what can you do? I mean, I voted for it. I couldn't do anything else. I voted for Fruits Basket in both these categories, in drama and in romance. So
you did more than I did, because I kind of started to look through the nominees and then I forgot to vote. So,
Oh no, John. You're the reason.
Oh, no.
You're the reason that Fruits Basket didn't win. It came down to one vote, and that was yours.
Shut up!
I'll ask the Crunchyroll officials how close it was, and if it was only one vote difference, I'm holding you accountable.
No. No, I don't like this timeline.
All right. Let's move over to happier. Well,
More exciting?
More exciting category, but also maybe not as much. Well, yeah, maybe in the winner, but well, let's just get to it. I think no, we haven't watched all of these. We watched most of these, though. Yes, we did.
The only one we didn't watch was, how can I put this? Naruto's dad's son.
Yes. No.
Got it.
No, that's not it. That
Wait, no, Boruto's dad's son.
Boruto's dad's son, yes. Yes, I haven't seen that fight. I don't know if it's a later fight, or I probably saw an earlier fight than this one. And I haven't followed Boruto in ages. I'm gonna wait till that show is finished, and then I'm just gonna watch just the not filler part.
I mean, there's parts of Naruto that aren't filler?
Yes.
Got 'em!
They are rare, but they're in there. So, so we can't really talk about that. I haven't seen that fight scene. I guess I gotta look it up. I mean, you can just look up fight scenes and let them speak for themselves, but yeah. The name I couldn't think of earlier, we have here now, because one of the fight scenes is Vivi versus Yogo Kakitani. And yeah, it's a fantastic fight scene. That's amazing. It's great hand-to-hand combat. There's some great use, I think, of weaponry as well. And the camera work in that scene is incredible. Mm-hmm. So yeah, definitely deserves to be on this list. We have Elma versus Toru in Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid S, which, yes, it was kind of surprising how fucking action heavy that particular episode was, or that scene, because it went there just from zero to, okay, now they're gonna have a face off. And Fafnir just standing there being kind of the judge, but also not. And he seemed pissed off by the way that fight ended.
Oh, and he really just kind of said, yeah, we're just going to do this right now. Right now? Right now.
Yes.
Right now.
Yes. So yeah, great fight. Like, great dragon woman fight with a lot of crazy super attacks. It's probably the most out there special attack. But in terms of big, blasting laser bullshit fight thingy, that is probably the biggest one here, which is surprising considering the show it's from, because Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid Ass is more of a comedy show. It's more slice of lifey, and seeing such incredibly well animated action scenes in a show like that is not off-putting, but it's really surprising. When I watched it, I was like, "What the fuck is going on? Holy shit, they're going all out! This is crazy." You go, KyoAni.
I mean, sometimes you gotta flex, and in terms of plot, sometimes, you gotta talk with your fists.
Yes, and it makes me mad that we don't get a straightforward action show from KyoAni anymore. I mean, what was the last one we got? Probably Full Metal Panic, the second raid?
Sounds about right.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, there were action scenes in some other shows, like what was that one with the giant boob lady? I forgot the name.
Giant boob lady. Ah, yes.
Yes,
that
sorry.
narrows it down.
It sounds demeaning, but I don't know what it was. It no, not myriad colors. I don't. Maybe.
Oh, yeah, Myriad Colors Phantom World.
Yes, I think that was the show. I think that had some more action scenes in it. I didn't watch it, but that's what the clips I saw, there were some action scenes there.
I mean, I watched like one episode of it, and I was like, all right.
One I forgot, but also that doesn't have so really many action scenes in it. Violet Evergarden.
Yeah.
At least at the end, it has a big action scene. So there's that. But aside from that, aside from the flashbacks to her war experience and everything, there's also not much action in there. And so it's definitely not a straightforward action show. It's more a drama. And I want KyoAni to do a big action show again because they're so talented. But that's not where the money is, maybe. I don't but also it is. I mean, people love watching action anime, so I don't. Maybe that's not what they want to do anymore. I don't know. But yeah, I would love to see a straightforward action show from KyoAni. It would be great. Attack on Titan, final season, part 1. Eren Yeager versus Warhammer Titan. I don't know.
I mean, it's an okay fight. I mean, it's.
I think it's the scene itself. The fight is not as interesting. Maybe I feel like the fight, we had much more interesting fights in Attack on Titan before. I think like the whole action scene that happens around that fight as well is maybe more interesting. Just a raid on the city, everything that happens there is a cool fight scene. But if we just concentrate on the fight between Eren and the Warhammer Titan, there's some spotty CG in there. And I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if it needed to be on this list. I don't know if there was a straightforward single action fight scene in season 1 that I would pick instead. There's just good action scenes in there, but those are comprised of a lot of different parts. And I feel like that single fight is not necessarily the only good part or the best part about that big action set piece in the first part of the final season. So I don't know if you feel different about it.
Nah, you're right.
Yeah, so probably I can think of at least one fight from season 2 that from part 2 that maybe would have fit here a little better. But yeah, we got 2 fight scenes from Jujutsu Kaisen, and I mentioned them earlier. One of them is Itadori and Todo teaming up to fight Hanami, the flower demon. And the other one is Itadori and Kugisaki versus the 2 brothers, Eso and Kichisu. And I am surprised that the team up won, kinda? Big time?
Why do you say that?
Because, I mean, it's a fantastic fight. it's a fantastic fight. Like Todo and Itadori going at it, and the special power of Todo is that when he claps his hands, he switches places with a specific person. He can decide which person, and that makes that fight incredibly fun to watch because there are a lot of trading places and everything, and a lot of surprising moves and switching back and forth and shit like that. It's very cool, versatile choreography. And there's some really crazy shit happening when they get tossed into the sky and everything by Hanami and all that shit. And it's really cool. I feel like as a complete package, the fight as a fight scene, not the entire scene, not the entire fight even, but as a single perfect fight scene, the second fight against the brothers, the team up between Itadori and Kugisaki is much better. I feel like it's just so fucking perfect with the music, with the special moves they do, how the fight scenes, the hits of Itadori versus one of the brothers is timed with the beat of the music, and the fucking banger boss scene of Nobara Kugisaki just using her weird hammer nail move to just explode one of the brothers with that fucking smirk on her face that defines her as this boss girl character deluxe. It's so good. There's so many. There are at least two really incredible moments in this fight scene, and it goes on long enough, but not too long. And everything about it, I loved. I had to watch it over and over again, and I didn't watch the fight of Itadori and Todo not as many times as I watched that fight. I don't know if it's just because of the everything that happened, the presentation and so on, but I feel like that fight, the second one, should have won because it's just all around stronger. John, how do you feel about the choice here, and would you have chosen differently?
I mean, I guess I see what you're saying, but no, that is a tough call actually for me.
Okay.
Because, I mean, I just like, God, Todo and Itadori just all of a sudden being like perfectly in sync after they have this like moment of my brother and coming together. Just that hit so well, but the other scene is really great.
It's very rewarding. I mean, from a character standpoint and everything what came before it, just seeing Todo indulge in this fantasy before in another fight where they become best friends because Itadori, I think, says that he loves women that have a big ass.
All women with a big ass.
Yes. So Todo finally feels like he can connect to somebody, and then he actually taking on training Itadori during their confrontation and everything. And then, like you said, them being in complete sync is fantastic. You're right. It's very rewarding. I feel like I can't get over how great the presentation is in that final fight. In regards to the music, in regards of the character works, the choreography, everything, the wild shit that happens, just Itadori pummeling one of the brothers into the ground and Nobara exploding them, and just, you have never seen her kick that much ass. You've seen her kick ass, but you feel like they're on the brink of losing and maybe dying because they're cursed and everything, and then they turn around in the most fucking badass self-mutilating way possible, I guess. And then they have this fucking dab scene. It hits right on where the music has this coda break and everything, and you have like this posing scene, and it's so perfect. Everything about this scene is perfect. So how can you not choose a perfect scene? Unless you think that the fight scene with Todo and Itadori teaming up is also perfect. I can see that. I can see that argument. But man, for me, this was never a competition. There was always one clear winner looking at this list. So I'm surprised that the other one won. I feel like some of these choices have been made specifically against me, and I feel offended.
And I took that personally.
Yes, very personal. Oh man, but yeah, at least a fight scene from Jujutsu Kaisen won. So that's something, I guess. Just would have picked the other one, but I can see your argument. Yes, it's in terms of character development and stuff. Maybe the scene of Itadori and Todo is a bit more rewarding, so that makes sense. Yeah,
It's a tough choice.
absolutely. Yes. Interesting. The next two categories,
Yes.
they have someone in common.
Yes.
So it's best antagonist comes first. Who do we have here?
We have Eren Yeager from Attack on Titan. The problem with this is we don't know how the rest of the story plays out.
Yes. At this very moment in the story we're at right now, this makes sense.
But like even last season, it would have been a different choice.
Yeah, even one episode ago, it seemed like it would have been a different choice. Because it felt like, oh, no, that's what he's doing and everything. But now we're back in the other part again, and we're like, what is happening? Eren, what are you doing? So, yeah, it could go either way. So I guess that's why he is also in the next category we're going to talk about. So, really interesting. So I feel like partially, yes, he could be a choice here. But also we can't be sure. So it seems like it's a bit
early to make that decision one way or the other.
Yeah.
Even as late as we are into the show.
Absolutely. But that should be for the list next year. Then we can make a definitive pick in which category he belongs. So
it will definitely be part of the discussion when the show is done and over.
Yeah. Let me quickly talk about the two entries in Best Antagonist that you haven't checked out, but I did, because I actually watched all of the shows that are in this list, which is...
Oh, yeah, you did,
crazy.
Huh?
Yes, I did. Teta Kisaki in Tokyo Revengers is definitely a good antagonist. He is not enough of a part of the season, though. He comes into play rather late, and his big play where you're like, oh no, he is... Definitely. I mean, he is the villain at the facilitator of all of this. You can guess that. But he has this big, reveal, I am actually the piece of shit here by the very end. And I feel like it was a bit predictable. And we don't know enough about him yet to make him a really compelling antagonist. He's just a looming threat in the background for most of the series. He's the main drive, kind of. Because we know at some point that he's responsible for, everything that goes wrong. If the main character's story and everything and his past, at least to some degrees, and his girlfriend dying and everything. But we don't know yet what his motivation is. That is mostly the thing. He has said some things, but those could also be a front. So I feel like he is a threatening antagonist for sure, but we don't really know anything about him yet. So, wouldn't be my choice. But I'm interested to see where he goes in the coming seasons of Tokyo Revengers. Echidna from ReZero, Starting Life in Another World, Season 2. I haven't finished Season 2 yet. So far, from what I've seen, yes, Echidna is also kind of the antagonist in a way, but also she seems willing to help our main character. She just doesn't make it easy for him. So yeah, she doesn't seem to be a clear-cut villain. Antagonist definitely fits her role better. But also it's more like maybe she doesn't have a choice. And yeah, she seems to be an interesting character. But also, again, she's not a super big part of that season. She's definitely there, and there's some talking with her, of our main character, of Subaru. She is definitely a key point in the show. She's definitely one of the things that sets the events into motion of season 2 of ReZero. But yeah, I feel like she's definitely, compared to some of the other characters in this, she's not necessarily the best antagonist. So yeah, I'm interested to see how that season wraps up, though, and what else she contributes in terms of an antagonistic role. Maybe she will go full villain by the end. I don't know. We'll see. I need to pick up that show again. It's been a while. Watched like half of the second season, and then I dropped it for other stuff. But I'm gonna finish it eventually. Maybe this weekend. We'll see. But yeah, we got 3 other entries. John, do you want to tell us about this?
We have Tomura Shigaraki from My Hero Academia. I mean, y'all know how I feel about Hero Aka, but
yes,
there's the makings of something there with him that we finally got around to seeing in season 5. It took a while to get there for me.
Yes, he's arguably one of the best parts of season 5, if not the best part. Like his origin story and how gruesome that is and everything. And you finally understanding where he is coming from and what his deal is and why he is the way he is and everything. And that is really important to know your antagonist, to feel for your antagonist. I mean, you can also do other antagonists that are like, just this question mark, this mystery, and just this big opposing force. But what we have seen from Tomura until now was mainly like, why is he doing this? And why is he so fucked up? And he's failing with a lot of his missions. So why is All for One putting so much trust into him? What is their relationship and everything? And all of that is explained in this season, in this 5th season, rather quickly, but effectively. And I feel like his big moment when he finally becomes the villain he was always supposed to become in this story, that is a really great key moment. And I loved it. I feel like maybe he's not a big enough part of this 5th season to be called the best antagonist. Maybe we will get more of him just playing just a key role in a future season of My Hero Academia again, when him and Deku finally square off again and we have this big thing, and then I might choose him. I loved his origin story. I thought, having a My Villain Academia story in general in this 5th season was good. But I want to see a bit more of him before I would choose him for this.
No, you're right.
Yeah, what are the other ones?
We had Yano from Odd Taxi.
Yes.
I mean, I guess
he's
it's a weird pick, I guess, but he's not a hero, that's for sure.
He's definitely an antagonistic force, but he's also, I don't know, a smaller piece of the puzzle that is Odd Taxi.
Yeah,
he's just one of the side characters. He's not in the show that much, and that he does some bad shit. That you see that actually with Kakihana, Odokawa's friend, who got fucked up by Yano's gang. So he's capable of bad shit, but also he's more of a comedic relief character in parts because of his weird hip hop gimmick and everything. And he's just, he's the main bad guy in terms of actually being a gangster and stuff like that. But he always made me laugh more than, that I felt actually like, holy fuck, that guy is like the worst and he is horrible. He feels just like an upstart, who tries to make it big and everything and doesn't have everything planned out. He's more of a quirky, funny antagonist. But that can also be a good antagonistic role, I guess. But I feel like he's not enough of this central part of this story to make him like a really prominent antagonist. So, yeah, I don't know how I feel about him. I probably wouldn't have picked him or even put him in the closer selection, the closer choice. How do you feel about it in general?
I mean, you got at least love the commitment to the bit of him constantly rapping through everything he says.
That's true.
So
that's great.
Definitely great for that. But yeah, he definitely does feel more like a on the side sort of character.
Who again kicks off some of the things that happen in this show.
And that's true.
But also, some of the stuff he isn't doing. He isn't doing that because of his, certain specific motivation that relates to our main character. Actually, he doesn't relate to our main character at all, really, because Odokawa kind of gets just thrown into the mix, and that's kind of it. And it only gets kind of involved because of Dobu and everything. So I don't. I don't feel like he's the strongest contender in this list. I feel like Tomura even would be stronger than he. So, what is our last pick?
Our last pick is Ainosuke Shindo, a.k.a. Adam from Skate the Infinity.
A.k.a. the skating vampire Torero.
What a good choice.
Yes, and that would have been my choice.
100% free.
Yes, it's a free choice. Like, I can see why, and the winner was Eren Yeager, by the way. I can see why they picked Eren, because it was such a turnaround for his character. He was the straightforward shonen hero, good guy, until the end of season 3. And then at the beginning of this final season, we see him suddenly murdering everyone. Like, murdering innocent people. And it's like, what the fuck is happening? But it's also more complicated than that. And I feel like as an antagonist, as an opponent, an antagonist to the main character and everything, and considering that Eren was our main character up to this point, it's also a weird stance for him to take. But, as the opposing force, the main drive of our main character, to fight against, to overcome, I think Adam is fantastic. And then
he is.
You take into account all the fucking performance of his voice actor. It's perfect. I enjoyed everything about this character so fucking much. And I think he's the perfect antagonist. Like, he's enjoyable, he's sinister, he is selfish, he's an asshole, but also he's really fun. He's like my most beloved kind of villain of antagonist that is, you love to hate him, but he's so damn enjoyable. And Adam is definitely one of those. Yeah, absolutely. I think this would have been the perfect pick. Maybe if more people saw Skate, or more people were like, hey, Eren is more compelling as an antagonist because he was only the straightforward hero up to this point. And this is a nice subversion of the whole thing, which it is. Absolutely true. We don't know if that will stick yet, like you said in the beginning. So I'm postponing that decision. I wouldn't have picked him this year. I would definitely have given it to Adam, and apparently you agree on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like me, and maybe if Tomura had his build up a lot sooner, it might be worth picking him. But no, I gotta go with my heart. It's Adam. It's 100% Adam.
Yes, absolutely. No tough choice there. Next section, best protagonist. And Eren is in this as well. Didn't win though.
Yes.
Because, yeah, I don't know. It's Attack on Titan was always kind of a team thing, I guess. At least if we go by the trifecta of our main three characters in Eren, in Armin, and in Mikasa. But Eren Yeager was more a protagonist in the first 3 seasons than he was in this, because the narration shifts to a completely different cast of characters, and Eren only comes into play even the middle of, like, second, third of the first part of the final season. So I don't even know if best protagonist fits. I guess if you consider him fulfilling like this weird mix role of being a protagonist while also being an maybe antagonist, this, validates him being on this list. But yeah, I don't know. Again, I would postpone this decision until the awards next year, to see what he actually was in regards to the final season.
He sure is a main character.
Yes, he sure is some character. Yeah, I'm going to talk about, again, the characters of the shows that you didn't watch. Wonder Egg Priority, I didn't see enough to say Ioto deserves to be on this list. She's an interesting character, and there are some interesting wrinkles to her state of mind and everything, and even the first episode has already some interesting character development for her, and it's interesting, and she's enjoyable and stuff like that. But I just don't know about where she goes in the story to make a decision on that, if she deserves to be in this category. Boji, probably. I love Ranking of Kings, like I said, but I also am not far enough in it. He's definitely a contender for Best Boy category already, but we'll see. I don't even know if he's in there. But I don't know if he can stick up to maybe some of the other protagonists in this. Joe is definitely, for me, a top contender, because he is also pretty much like Eren, but in a different way. His character is kind of completely turned on its head in the second season of Megalobox. Because he, has a straightforward underdog kind of sports hero story in the first season, where it's like he's this outsider and trusts not a lot of people, and then he gets integrated by his trainer and becomes part of Megalobox, of Legend Megalobox, and has like this rise to fame and everything, and becomes the star and the champion, and it's a straightforward sports hero story, champion story, and so on. And then the second season completely changes that by making him a broken man and making him make some really bad decisions and selfish decisions and giving his character so much more depth than he had in the first season. So I think he definitely belongs on this list and he's a top contender because what they did with him is just amazing. The only thing I would probably, how I would argue against him is because a lot of the other characters also are part of what his story is in this season. Like Chief is a big part of that, an important part of that, and it wouldn't work without their interplay. And the same as with some of the kids that he is familiar with, and his and the scenes we see of him and his former friend and trainer. So hard to decide, but he's definitely deserves a spot on this list. And maybe if we didn't have some other characters in here, or at least one other character, I would have chosen him. Or would choose him. I'm still not sure. Maybe any other day, maybe he would make it because he definitely would deserve it. Why don't you tell us about what you think about Yuji Itadori as main protagonist, John, as in this case best protagonist, maybe?
I mean, Yuji's kind of a straightforward character.
Yes. He's what Eren was kind of in season 1, 2, 3, but only more sympathetic. Like of Attack on Titan, only for him and Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah, I think sympathetic is probably the right word to describe him, because would you describe Eren as such at any given point? Really?
Well, whenever you see him sticking up for his friends, that's sympathetic, but a character that is very driven by revenge and is very pig-headed and diehard and narrow-minded is always hard to. I mean, you can sympathize with that character, and his mom got killed for fuck's sake, got eaten by a fucking titan, and a lot of his friends and neighbors. So you can relate to that. You cannot relate to that, but you can understand his rage and everything. But also he makes some really stupid decisions, and it takes a long time for him to has like his turnaround to become an actual understandable character or a good character, which is I think the middle of the first part of season 3 when he gets the shit slapped out of him by Historia. This is his key moment where it's like this turnaround. No, this is not about me. I am not the ultimate hero here. And this is the scene which makes him a bit more sympathetic and makes him even reflect on what he did before and who he is and why he is doing what he's doing. And that's the part where he becomes sympathetic, at least for a while. And then in this new season, he fucking turns around and becomes a mass murderer. And you're like, what? So
it's fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, that was short-lived. But Yuji is definitely a straightforward shonen hero that is sympathetic, that is fun, and kicks a lot of ass. But like you already said, he is very straightforward. And I wouldn't even say that his more character depth thing, like the stuff, the storylines that gave him character were in the second core. They were in the first one. Like that was the one that had more depth with his friendship with, I forgot his name, the guy who gets turned around by the weird fucking asshole silver-haired dude.
Yeah,
you know who I mean. Which also resulted in the best fight of the first season. But yeah, you're right. Like Itadori is a bit too straightforward, especially the core 2. He's fun to watch. He's enjoyable. He's funny. He's sympathetic. He's a cool dude. But there's not a lot of depth to him in season 2, I feel like. And I feel like we want a bit of depth in the protagonist. So
that brings us to the last choice and the winner, Odokawa from Odd Taxi.
Yes.
And Odokawa is definitely a very complex character.
Yes, he absolutely is. And he's a very unique character in how he behaves and everything.
Yeah, I mean, he seems very uninterested in the world around him until things start to catch up with him. And seeing the events that are going on around him acting as a catalyst for his own change I feel like that's probably the most interesting part of his character. It's because without everything else that's going on, he'd probably just stay the same, driving around his taxi, living out his life. But there's so much. There's a lot to unpack with Odd Taxi, so in general.
Yes, I agree. And we're talking about sympathetic characters. Odokawa in the beginning I mean, there are some sympathetic aspects to it, but he is more of a gruff, I don't know, cynical. Cynical is maybe even the wrong word. He's just so blunt, and he's so not afraid to piss people off with what he says. And sometimes, but also sometimes you get the feeling that he just doesn't know any better, maybe. He just says what he thinks and doesn't take the feelings of other people into consideration. It's really interesting. He's not necessarily all the way through a sympathetic character, but he's so interesting, and you try to unravel this mystery of who he is and how he became the guy he is. And he has so many facets to him. Like, first, at the beginning, you kind of feel like, oh, this is this one-syllable guy, and he drives a taxi, and there's not much to him, probably. Maybe he's even stupid. And the more you see of him, you know, no, that guy is super smart, and he can figure out a lot of shit by just looking at you and listening to you. And something happened to him that made him the way he is. And it must be something incredibly traumatizing. And you don't know if he's a good guy or if he's actually a bad guy. The show keeps you guessing, keeps you wondering, what is his deal? Might he be actually the antagonist of this? So it's really interesting. And all that leads to a fantastic, one of the best, just in terms of what happens around him in that scene, to all the other characters, but also where he is in that moment and what happens after, you know, the stuff, the revelation that comes after that when his car falls into a river and everything. That is such a great cathartic moment in such a short show. We didn't spend so much time with these characters. I earlier talked about how great the cathartic moments in Fruits Basket are because we spend so much time with these characters. But even the short time you spent with Odokawa, the short time you spent with some of his friends and acquaintances and everything, and how all their stories are spun together into this neat yarn by the end of the show. And then you get like this big key moment that relates kind of to all of them, or at least to most of them. And that's one of those perfect scenes that I was talking about with the perfect fight scene earlier. That is just the way it's staged, the way it's directed, the music, how the music hits, how the character beats hit, where the characters are at this point in their lives and everything. It's just perfect. And Odokawa is a big part of that. And his character journey is one of the most compelling things about Odd Taxi, in my opinion. John, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we really go on a journey with him from beginning to end. So I think out of all of these characters, that Odokawa is probably the best choice for now. Could change because we still don't, the anime onlys like us still don't fully know Aaron's deal. So,
but then we get to choose him next season, so that's next year. That's fine.
That's possible. Yes.
For this award season, it would come down between Joe and Odokawa for me because they're both incredibly compelling characters, incredibly well written, and I loved spending time with them, every second of it, actually. So. Yeah, it was a good choice. Totally fine with Odokawa winning this. I would have been fine if Joe won it too. So this is good. I feel vindicated, validated, everything. So this is great. Yeah, next category I think we can go through pretty quickly because it's one of those weird ones. Best character design. I don't. John, do you have a horse in this race?
I mean, it's good if your show or your manga or whatever has great character designs, but I feel like I have trouble being really objective about this. I mean, Jujutsu Kaisen is great because it has a lot of very like weird creatures and stuff. And Skate the Infinity has all, you know, the costumes and the different decks that are really neat.
It's very clean.
Taxi has, you know, it has its very eclectic cast of different animals.
Yes.
And then Vivi is just, you know, also a very cleanly designed show that's also really good.
Yeah, it also pays a lot of attention to the characters' faces and everything. Like, does the same kind of thing that Cabaneri of the Iron Fortress does, where it like in certain scenes, basically they used a makeup artist to draw or to help with the drawing of the characters' faces, and it's like this super detailed look on the characters' faces, super well shaded and colored and everything, and it looks really great. So there is definitely some emphasis on the character designs, but sometimes I feel like, especially Vivi's character design, looks a bit flat when it's not like these super, particular shots of her face. I don't know. It was an okay character design, but I feel like I'd seen better than I've seen Vivi. I definitely like taste wise. I felt like Skate was more clean to me and was interesting, more interesting. One Direct Priority was great, colorful and everything, but again, aside from the main character having like these two different eye colors, which I always think is cool, it was nothing that screamed at me, hey, this is super unique. So, Jujutsu Kaisen also not, again, super cool designs and everything in terms of just character faces, I guess. But also the costumes design all look the same, almost.
You mean you didn't like the characters running around wearing just smocks?
Yeah, pretty
essentially.
much. Yes. I think in terms of being visually diverse, Taxi probably comes the closest because, you just got a bunch of different animals who all look different and behave different. And so it's just cool, varied designs. If I want clean, cool animated designs, I would probably choose Skate. If not, if I want something special, Odd Taxi. Otherwise, Ranking of Kings, definitely because it's got this neat storybook, more like children anime design that we don't really see a lot in anime series anymore. At least I can't remember when the last time was I actually saw that in a current show. So it's definitely deserves mention for that because it's special. It's definitely special, just like Odd Taxi is special. If I want special character design that is unique and unusual, I'd go for these two shows. If I want to go for something straightforward, cool anime design, I would go for Skate because, that's definitely it. So, but neither of those won. Jujutsu Kaisen did.
Okay.
Okay. That's fine. It's good shonen designs. I guess there's some cool weapons. Maybe there's a panda in there, or something like that. There's a weird wooden robot. So there are definitely some cool designs here. But again, the clothes all kind of look the same. And hey, the designs animated well, and it looked really good when these characters fought. So
that's true.
Absolutely. So sure, take it, Jujutsu Kaisen. I wouldn't have chosen you for this, but it's fine. It's fine. Best director. I think. I've watched all of these. So,
I watched half of them.
Yes.
I watched a couple episodes of Sonny Boy.
Yeah, you did. So, interesting.
I mean, Shingo Natsume Unchained was a thing.
Sure was a thing. And I think just in terms of realizing one's vision, which, is also, it's always neat to see that a director has something they want to do, and want to tell with their story and have a unique vision that they try to realize on screen and are good at it. And in terms of that, Sonny Boy definitely deserves to be on here and maybe even deserves to win because none of the other ones feel so much like, hey, here's the singular vision of the director that he wanted to create and put on screen, and he fucking did it. He didn't care if people understood it. He didn't fucking care if anything of that actually made sense in a way. He just put it there, and some of it made sense to me, some didn't. And some parts of it just looked amazing and were weird as fuck. And it's Sonny Boy was so fucking uncompromising that I kind of would want to reward Shingo Natsume for it, because that he even dared to do that people gave him money for it, that he actually made a watchable show out of it in a way, at least for certain people, kind of is a thing. But I think that he was able to do this is maybe reward enough for him in itself. So I don't know. It's a tough choice. I mean, you haven't finished the show, but I told you a lot about it, so I don't know. It's definitely up there, just in terms of, hey, I can see the handwriting of the director here. I can see that this was a vision by that guy That's what he wanted to do.
Hmm.
So, yeah, wish it would have made a bit more sense to me, or maybe I needed a bit more of a straightforward story and not so much of a puzzle box. But I know he was tackling big themes and wanted to say big things, and he did that and didn't compromise. So that's a good thing. Wonder Egg Priority, I didn't finish again, and I heard like it in terms of direction and everything else, it just goes fucking down the drain later on. So weird choice for this. Maybe more for its first half than its final 2 episodes or something. But it felt like maybe the vision didn't come to fruition because of COVID or shit. I don't fucking know. There were some production troubles with Wonder Egg Priority, and it's got this weird exclamation point at the end that nobody was happy with, apparently. So that can also be, the director can be faulted for that. So I don't know why it's on this list. Maybe again more for the ideas and for the setup and how the action scenes were directed and everything. And it has a unique look to it, and it looks great in general. What I saw of it anyway. So if you want to contribute that mostly to director, sure, that works. Who else do we have, John?
We have Yuichiro Hayashi for Attack on Titan Final Season Part 1. I mean, sure, but I feel like the vision for the show is coming together a little better in Part 2. I feel like we've already had this discussion because we have you had Sung-Hoo Park for Jujutsu Kaisen, who is a madman of a director. We definitely talked about him when we talked about The God of High School, because definitely has a clear-cut vision for the action in his shows, if nothing else.
That man knows how to do action. Like you said, if anything else. Like, God of High School didn't have anything else to offer.
God, you're not wrong.
It just had the action, but that action was so fucking good that it was in the run, at least tangentially, for one of our best of the season things, because it looked so good and was so much fun, just having this balls to the walls insane action that made no sense whatsoever at a certain point. So just let that wash over you, and a lot of that can probably be contributed to Sung-Woo Park. And he showed it again in Jujutsu Kaisen all the way through, but definitely even more so in Core 2 than in Core 1, because there's so much great action direction in that. So, and the character moments come together well and everything, and the music is chosen well, and all of that is part also of the director job. So he got his shit together, and if he doesn't alone, he knows how to, get to accumulate people, to group people around him who know what they're doing, and he knows how to tell them what to do to make the series shine. So that's all, in my opinion, part of the director's job. So he's did definitely a fantastic job in Jujutsu Kaisen Core 2. So yeah, he should be on here. Absolutely. Yo Morimiya for Megalobox 2. At least in one regard, I think when it comes to how the character drama was staged, how slow, well-paced. Megalobox is not a fast-paced show. The story takes its time, and all the key scenes are really well-directed, and Murayama took his time letting certain character decisions and certain character moments sink in, and then put like these key moments in the show that felt really well done and feel like they came together really well. So considering also this is an anime original series, it feels like he probably had his work cut out for him, and I think he did a really good job putting this second season together. So yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. One final mention in regards to Attack on Titan, which I forgot to say earlier. I feel like, and you're right, we're probably gonna, if we comment that, we should probably do that in part 2 of the season. But it's a tough feat for Yuichiro Hayashi to just go from this mostly frenetic action-focused direction that Tetsuro Araki did for the first 3 seasons of Attack on Titan, and then turning it around to also being more, I don't know, character drama, horror focused in a part, and having a lot of the first part of the final season being more built up than anything else. So that's a big switch, and it's a different studio and everything. So, and do you want to be the director who takes over Attack on Titan
No.
like switching studios and everything, and with everything that came before it and the legacy that show already had after 3 seasons. Like, kudos to that guy pulling it off as well as he did, because holy shit, that could have gone horribly wrong, and he definitely pulled it together. So yeah, if we don't, if he's the winner this time, definitely, probably, maybe for part two, definitely up there as a top contender, because taking on that project after Wit kind of went like, no, we're done, we can't do this anymore, and then actually not fucking it up, that's a feat. Because I was so afraid they would. I mean, I trust Mappa mostly. They can deliver a lot of good shit, but also sometimes the production values are not there, and sometimes they don't have their shit together, and it falls apart at the seams sometimes. But so far, knock on wood, it hasn't happened to Attack on Titan, and I'm really happy that he knows what he's doing, apparently. So we'll see how it turns out ultimately, and we'll talk about it again probably next year, come award season. And the last one is, John,
Baku Kinoshita for Odd Taxi, the big winner.
Yes, deserved, well deserved in my opinion, and probably also my choice. How about you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, everything about we've already ranted and raved about how much we love Taxi, but God, the direction of the show was so good. Like, I went into the show so unsure of what was going to happen, and then it just kept pulling me in, and that's a really good sign of that they knew what they were going for with it.
Absolutely, and let's not forget, this is Baku Kinoshita's first anime directing gig. I don't even know if he did anything else direction-wise before this, but in terms of anime, this is the first thing he did. Man, the man came out swinging. Where do you go after this? Holy shit. And I mean, not only him, the writer, Katsuya Konomoto, and I don't think we don't have that category in these awards. We don't have best script or anything. But also, Katsuya Konomoto, first anime screenplay.
I mean, he was the creator of the manga too, so.
Yes. But he also wrote the script for the TV show, apparently. And again, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Like, the two first-timers, at least two first-timers, probably some other first-timers in that cast. And then they deliver something like Odd Taxi, and you're like, how are you even... I can't even imagine where you go from here. Can you... What the fuck? How can you even top this? It's ridiculous. I mean, like, if they never have such a breakout hit again and never deliver on, fire on all cylinders like they do in this show, they definitely need to be awarded for this outing, because it's ridiculous. Like, hey, here's the first thing we do in this particular medium, and it's such a fucking home run. And how can you not reward that? You at least have to reward the director for this, like, for doing what he did with the show.
Yeah, for real, 100%.
Yeah, so no doubt about it. Odd Taxi had to take this. A lot of strong contenders here. Like I said, I probably could also have given it to Shiko Natsume any other day, because it's just like, you go, man. You create your dream series and say what you want to say, even if I don't understand all of it. But kudos to you for doing this. But no, Baku Kinoshita, like, especially since this is first time outing and considering what kind of show Odd Taxi turned out to be, this is ridiculously easy. So yeah, definitely the right choice was made.
Mm-hmm.
What is the next category, John? We have a couple more.
Next up is best score.
Yes.
Who do we got? We got your boy Hiroyuki Sawano alongside Kota Yamamoto for 86.
Great score. It's a Sawano score.
There you go.
I love his shtick. I love what he's doing to death. There's a reason why he's one of my favorite anime composers. But it's kind of always the same thing. There's no way talking around it. He has a style, and he always does that style, and it's cool. But also, I feel like we have a lot more diverse soundtracks on this list. So yeah, you go, Sawano. You can't wrong me. You can't do me any wrong. You always deliver. You always do what I love. but there are some more unique scores here, and I kind of want to reward the more unique stuff. If he got his laurels with the previous Attack on Titan scores and Kill la Kill, and there's so much good. My favorite score is probably Xenoblade Chronicles X, so that is not anime, but still. So he got a lot of noteworthy, award-worthy scores already. I wouldn't necessarily put 86 there because it's not much different than his previous stuff. So there's that. What else do we have, John?
We have Satoru Kosaki, who did the music for Vivi Fluorite Eyes song. We had heard Kosaki's work previously in Beastars, which is a great, very moody sort of soundtrack.
Yeah, mostly moody, jazzy soundtrack with some kick-ass tracks, some more funny ones too. I feel more like a marching band thing, but mostly jazz. I mean, that's what the OP says. That's called jazz. So that's definitely the inspiration there.
And, Vivi kind of swerved in a different direction with its music, but definitely stayed true to like the sort of future punk theme that it was setting up with like the little dash. Can't see the hand gesture I just did. Whatever.
No, I can't.
Just imagine me kind of going between like Emerald Lagasse and Salt Bay.
Sure.
It just had that sort of little splash of like the Idol music.
Absolutely, yes.
In there, which
a lot of insert songs.
But yeah, it's also a great soundtrack too. So very, very got a lot of great energy behind it.
Yes, I agree. I haven't heard enough of Wonder Egg Priority from Didi Moose and Mito. I think the music I remember was good, but I couldn't tell if it was, up to par with any of the other stuff. So, yeah. What else do we have?
Kunpi, Vava, and OMSB for Odd Taxi. Man. This is another good banger soundtrack. Just, again, another big mood.
Yeah, it feels
soundtrack.
Like
from the moment you hear the opening theme.
Yes, yeah, the opening theme is probably the best thing. It's got more of like maybe sometimes also jazzy, but also hip hop ish style, R&B maybe a bit in there. It's a mix of several different influences, I would say. I enjoyed it. I thought not all of it is necessarily to my musical taste, but I feel like it served the show very well and what the show was doing with its characters and its story and everything. It really fit that atmosphere of being a cab driver in Tokyo, but not Tokyo. Maybe you hear the soundtrack and you think night streets, and that works. So, or maybe a dingy club. A dingy comedy club with smoke hanging in the air and stuff like that. So yeah, that also works.
For sure.
Yeah. The other one that I listened to that you didn't is Megalobox 2. And I feel like this would be my pick actually for best soundtrack because first of all, it's more to my interest than the one from the first season because it's more rhythm guitar based, I guess. And the first one was more rap, more hip-hop-ish. And this is more Latin American sounding, which is intentionally because of a lot of that kind of is used in the story in terms of the story that is told with the immigrants in that universe and everything. So they're kind of Latino themed in a way. So that works. And there are also some great key scenes. And one of the key things is actually related to music. One of the key story plot points. It's the Song of the Colibri. And so music is also part of this story. In Odd Taxi is kind of too, because I guess Yano is rapping all the time, so that works too. But even more so in Megalobox 2, I feel like music is is one of the key things and story points and plot points in Megalobox 2 in a way. And I always love it when a show kind of integrates that part of its production also in its story and makes it a plot point, an actual story point and point of character development even in this show. So yeah, for me, definitely would have been Megalobox 2 Nomad. this time for best score. And I have listened to that score already several times, and I think it's fucking great. Didn't win though. John, what won?
Big winner is Demon Slayer, the Mugen Train arc, the music by Yuki Kajiura and Go Shina.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
I guess.
I mean, Yuki Kajiura's work is great. Go Shina, I know, God, the most of his work I know came from one of the Tales games. I can't remember which one it was now. And I think he did work on a bunch of the Ace Combat games, I believe.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
There was one Tales game in particular, and now I can't pick it out of my head which one it was. But
don't say it, Legendia.
Oh my God, you're right. I couldn't think of it. I legitimately couldn't think of the name
because you hate that game.
I put it so far out of my brain. I played it.
The soundtrack is great though. So.
Oh no, without a doubt, Legendia's soundtrack is so good. But the game can go. It can go.
And it went.
It sure did. Ever wonder why that game didn't get a remaster? Now you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there is an incredible body of work to pull from between these two composers. Is it the best one on this list?
Not for me. I would, have the same argument against this soundtrack that I would against the soundtrack by Sawano. If you've listened to several Kajiura soundtracks already, this all sounds very familiar. I don't want to discount Goshina's influence in this, but this sounds very much like a Yuki Kajiura soundtrack with a very high emotional string parts in it and everything, and that she is going for a lot of the same-ish melodies often, and that's the same for Demon Slayer. Don't get me wrong, it's a fantastic soundtrack. It underlines the emotional key moments very well, especially in its first season, but also in this, like in the Mugen Train arc. But it's like, yeah, that's a Kajiura soundtrack. Just like I was with 86. Yeah, that's a Sawano soundtrack. I like what I'm hearing. I feel like, especially in regards to the story and everything, Megalobox 2 is much better. I don't know which would be your pick. Probably Vivi or Odd Taxi, I guess.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards Odd Taxi.
Okay. Yeah, that's a very diverse, interesting, and unique soundtrack. And it, again, maybe even more fits the theme, the tone of the show very well and serves it very well than Kajiura's soundtrack does for Demon Slayer. So. Yeah. I can agree with that. For me, it would have been Nomad, but yeah. Probably, wouldn't have been Demon Slayer for either of us. Again, all right.
Sorry.
Yeah. We don't seem to agree a lot with these year's winners.
Well, maybe that's fine, right? That's fine. We're right and they're wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You got it, John. So how about the next category?
Next category is Best Girl.
We can only judge over half of these, or you only two. I can...
Yeah, I mean, I didn't watch Komi Can't Communicate, One Direct Priority, Kakegi Shoujo, Kageki Shoujo, oh my god, or 86.
I watched 86, and Lena is definitely an interesting character. I like her a lot, but I feel like she's still got some ways to go. And she definitely has one of those kick-ass fuck yeah moments, like fist in the air. And you go girl in the season, so that's always great, and might be one of the indication things for best girl. But yeah, I don't know if I wouldn't have picked her, at least not yet. So interesting to see where it goes in the coming season.
Best girl, best boy is weird because you know
how do you define that? Yeah, what does that even mean to you? Does it mean most sympathetic? Does it mean most you want to date that person? I don't fucking know. It's really I never understood these categories really as like, is it the most interesting character? But then it would be protagonist and not, I feel like maybe it's like, hey, this is the character you want to hang out with,
or the one that you see change the most and become, a better version of themselves?
I don't fucking know. It could be defined in so many different ways. I don't know if there's an official definition of that by Crunchyroll. Hey, this is what this means, or fandom. Is there like a Wikipedia page on it what best girl and best boy means?
Yeah, but then that's gonna be all over the place too.
Yeah, probably. So I don't know. Unless I don't have a clear definition for it either. Sort of like best boy, best girl, I would say an interesting character that is also endearing in a way. So it couldn't be one that is a compelling asshole, I guess.
Right.
It must be a character that has some values and does things like standing up for their friends, is loyal, is trustworthy, is sympathetic in a way, and compelling in a way. It needs to be a mix of different things.
Right.
So, yeah, I can't say anything about Ioto really because I didn't spend enough time with her. I didn't watch Komi Can't Communicate. I didn't watch Kageki Shoujo. So the other two contenders on this list would be Nobara Kugisaki from Jujutsu Kaisen Core 2 and Toru Honda from Fruits Basket, the final season. And I feel like Toru definitely fits more the bill in terms of a classic good girl because that's absolutely what she is to a fault. Like, to the extent of damaging herself because she's just too good. She's too good to other people without considering her own feelings. And that kind of puts a dent in it, but also, she's a very good person. She is a best girl for a lot of characters in Fruits Basket because she's just enriching their lives and making them better people just by existing. And I wouldn't even know how to do a better definition of best girl. Just having a very positive influence on everyone around her and making them better people so they can help her become a person that is more content with herself and everything with her life. So an all-around positive, a net positive effect, net positive person. And she would probably have been my winner in this. Just for the virtue of, how she is. And even though she is very flawed, but, in a different way. And Nobara one, which I guess is fine. She's funny. She's also, sticking up for her friends, but also she's a cocky asshole.
So that makes her great, though.
Yeah, that makes her totally great. So I guess maybe if that's your definition, if it's a character you can laugh with and who is just like, no, she's just this tough, no-nonsense girl who is like, she's not your, that's probably the best thing about her. She's not your typical shonen anime girl. She's not a healer. She's not a fucking, hey, love interest for one of the characters. She's just there to fucking kick ass and do her own shit and yell in other people's faces and just be a badass. She's just fucking cool. So I guess it works. If that is your definition of best girl, like it's just an all-around cool character that has some really rough edges, that's fine. So I can't really argue against this choice, I guess. I probably would have chosen Toru just because of how I would define a best girl, I guess. But yeah, Nobara also, sure, works just because she's a very unique female character, especially in shonen anime. So sure. I don't know how you feel about this choice, John.
Out of these characters on this list, it's kind of a weird choice, but I feel like I'd probably go with Toru, mostly because I want to give her a hug and say, you need to be better to yourself.
Mm.
And of course, we know the characters in Fruits Basket get there, but in the moment.
Yeah.
So, that's, I guess.
You can support her on that.
Yes.
Next category.
Next category is Best Boy.
The Mirror Piece.
Yes.
Weird selection, John. I just gotta come out and say it. Like, I don't understand.
I've only watched one of these shows, so.
Yeah, I guess. But, okay, so let's talk about these characters that are here. And then let's talk about the characters that are not here. So, Mikey and Draken from Tokyo Revengers are best boys in terms of that they stick up for their friends and everything. They're also assholes, like both of them. They beat other people up for fun. They're in a gang, and that's it. And I feel like that doesn't define best boy for me. Just like, they can be funny, and like I said, they stick up for each other. They can be sympathetic, but they are not all the way through. They bicker a lot. They can sometimes be annoying. So I don't feel like with these two, even the main character of Tokyo Revengers would have deserved more to be in here. So I don't know why these two got chosen. It's super weird. I don't understand it. So that's weird. Boji, I have not seen enough of, but I can see him being best boy for me next award season. He already has definitely the makings for that because he's a very gutsy little guy. The world against him, like nobody wants him to be king because he's deaf and mute. And he's very small, has frail kind of. He is not a good fighter, at least not in the classic sense. And he doesn't seem to be like the guy you want as a new king, or at least the people, the people from his country, I guess, or from his kingdom maybe don't. But he is just so headstrong, and he's got such a good heart, and he is such a good friend to just this weird shadow creature, and he's so endearing and lovable. So definitely, he deserves to be on this list. I just haven't seen enough of him yet to would say, oh, he's the winner of this. None of us have watched Torimira, so we can't say anything about it. How do you feel about Odokawa being on this list?
I mean, would I call him best boy? Probably not. But
No.
I don't have anything against him being here.
It's a weird... I mean, again, it comes down to definition, but for most of the runtime, he is a fun character. I wouldn't call him necessarily endearing or all around sympathetic. He's just interesting and he's a very compelling character, but he's not like a classic buddy boy. He has friends, but also sometimes he's kind of mean to his friends. And
well, that's how friends are sometimes.
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe he deserves to be, and he is especially at the end, he's a very cool character, and he is very sympathetic. You know where he came from and everything, and you feel like his heart is definitely in the right place, especially once you understood why he did all the things he did. And he's trying to save Kakihana and everything, and without taking really into consideration how that endangers him to a certain degree. So I guess, yeah, sure, he can be on this list. Senku from Dr. Stone, definitely in a way, but also he's a mad scientist asshole a lot of times. He's super fun, but he can be taxing on the nerves of the other people around him. he's a very, I don't want to say aggravating, but maybe for the people around him sometimes. He's a very interesting person to be around. Let's just call it that. He's super fun, and he got science on his brain all the time, and he definitely does the right things out of goodness of his heart. He has a really good character, and he has got the right ideal. He wants to save the world, and in the second season it's all about fighting against someone he feels like, no, fuck all the people from the previous world. We only revive the young ones and everyone else gets destroyed, right? Because the old guys had their chance and they fucked it up again and again, and we want to the world now belongs to the untarnished youth. And he's like, no, I'm going to save everyone. So he's got his priorities straight, and he's got his heart in the right place and everything, and he's idealistic, and so it's cool. And he definitely is a good friend, mostly for his other friends. But he also loves to play tricks on them, and sometimes doesn't take their safety into account when he does weird science experiments. So, I don't know. Sure, put him on the list. Boji won, which I'm fine with. Again, I've not seen enough of him, but more fitting probably than any of the other characters. So, John.
What about... There's two other characters I could think of that could probably easily slot into Best Boy. One is Lego C.
Absolutely. Always a choice, definitely.
And the other is Noe.
Noe,
from Vanitas.
Why is Noe not on this list?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Noe's great. I love Noe.
Yeah, I was like, wait, we had Vanitas earlier. Why the fuck is no one from Vanitas in here, especially Noe? Why is Fushi not in here? Or what's his name? Why did I forget it? The guy with the face mask, with the stone mask. Gugu. Why is Gugu not on here? What the fuck? Why the hell is no one from Skate in here?
For real?
What the fucking shit? Why are our two main characters from Skate not in here? They are bestest boys, especially when it comes to their interplay with each other. What the fuck? The omissions in this category are staggering. Throw out Draken, throw out Mikey. maybe even throw out Orokawa and Senku and put all the other characters in there. Put Noe in there. Put Fushi or Gugu in there. Put both main characters from Skate in there. And then you got a list. What is this? What is this, John?
I don't know.
I don't understand.
Just like with I guess with Best Girl, it was because there was a lot of shows we hadn't watched. But I mean, I would have put Kanon from Love Live Superstar in there because that's a story all about her refinding herself. So it's like,
yes.
Man,
maybe she should also have been then in the Best Protagonist list. Who knows? But yeah, we had some omissions and some weird winner picks in the other character categories. Fruits Basket not being the winner in either drama or romance, just still, I'm flabbergasting. But here, the omissions are so fucking ridiculously in your face. I do not understand it. Like the most glaring ones being why are especially these two characters, not even anyone from Tokyo Revengers, but not even our main character, who is arguably more deserving of this list, if anyone from Tokyo Revengers. Why are these two characters? I don't understand. Who made these choices? What the fuck? No, I don't get it. This is mind-boggling to me.
We would have made better choices.
Absolutely. Sorry. What the fuck? Anyway, let's move on over to the next category before I get more depressed. Best ending sequence winner. What do we have here?
We have the Attack on Titan final season part 1 ending sequence.
I feel like we had better ones.
Yeah, I mean, oh boy, we were talking with a friend the other day about one of the previous ones, and it was like, they just foreshadowed a whole bunch of stuff, and we in anime onlys had no idea.
Yes,
I think zero idea.
Even when manga, when that came out, when that ED came out, even manga readers didn't have any idea about what was going on. So interesting. But yeah, this one, it's fine. Sure, it's a good ED, but I feel like we had better ones.
We had Demon Slayer, the Mugen Train, Shirogane. I wish I could explicitly remember this one. I'm having trouble calling it out of my head.
It's a good Lisa song. That's about all I can say about it. It's pretty neat. It's got some cool vocals, but anything else, like, okay.
Seems like they have her on speed dial a lot for Demon Slayer now.
I mean, she's a big voice, so I haven't watched Shadow House.
Which I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying for anyone listening.
Yes, none of us.
That was the big winner, by the way, I guess.
Yes, it was. I don't agree with that. We'll get to that. I haven't watched Shadow House or Ganbare Kumoko-san no theme from So I'm a Spider, So What. I haven't seen any of those, so I don't know. Can't speak to that quality.
Yeah, I don't know either of those.
Yes. It would be between. My pick would be between Beastars and Skate the Infinity.
I love both of those ending sequences so much.
So, Beastars, especially for how it figures actually into the story later on. Mm-hmm. Speaking of foreshadowing,
I remember I watched the final episode of season 2 before you did, and you were like, why did they open with the ending theme? And I'm like, keep watching. So it was so good the way they flipped it on its head for that episode specifically.
Yes. And then Infinity is like the coziest ending I've seen in a long time. The one from Skate the Infinity.
So nice, just all the characters skating and beefing it hard.
Yes, it's so enjoyable. The lyrics are great. The vocals are great. The song in overall, it's just so much fun. It's so cool seeing them goof off and being good friends. And this is a Sophie's choice, John. I don't know. I wouldn't have picked Demon Slayer. Absolutely not. It's a good song, but still, like, in terms of how that ending made me feel and how it figures into the show, it could be either of those two. Just Skate gave me all around good vibes, just like the rest of the show. And Beastars was like, oh, this is interesting. And then by the end of the show, holy shit, You Beastards. Anyway, so I don't know. I couldn't pick either of those two. We would have to do a split thing. What we do with best of the season often. It's like, hey, you take this one, I take this one, because we got two winners here.
Yeah. Perfect.
So,
excellent.
Let's do that. So one of us, I don't know which one, but one of us takes Beastars, the other one Skate. But yeah, definitely those two are more deserving of that than what actually won. Then we have best opening sequence. I have a clear. Oh no, I don't, John. I don't have a clear winner here. I thought I did, but there's so many good ones in here. It's man.
I mean, I think I've seen all of these except for the Tokyo. I feel like I saw the Tokyo Revengers one, and I was like,
I linked it to you.
You did. That's right, you did. I think I watched it, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a great. Right. It's a great OP. It is a nice thong. It's a nice. Yeah, sure, that is true. It's a nice song. It figures well into the show because our main character is a crybaby. That's all what the story is about. That he kind of overcomes that, or still remains a crybaby and fights in a different way, just by being a very emotional, compassionate, empathetic person, right? So I always like when the OPs figure into the show and kind of describe or go into the character of one of the main players, and definitely does the OP does that. It's cool. I feel like a lot of the other ones are better just in terms of what they're doing. Like, yeah. So it definitely deserves to be on this list, in my opinion. It could definitely be here, but it wouldn't have won for me. So what else do we have?
We have Odd Taxi from Odd Taxi.
Yes. You gotta come out and say, John, when I first scrolled through this, that's what my eyes landed on first. Like, yes, that's the obvious winner. But afterwards, I looked at the other candidates and was like,
I mean, I love this song and its sequence because it's just a vibe, man.
It is a vibe. It's a mood. It's an absolute mood, John.
It's definite. I think. Is Kaibutsu? I think most of these songs are on my big weeb song mixtape that I have on Spotify.
Yes,
so
yes, absolutely. Kaibutsu, you just mentioned it, isn't on there. I feel like that is weaker than the first OP of Beastars. It's still a good song. It's still a good OP in terms of animation and everything. I feel like it doesn't have as much of a cool vibe. The first OP to Beastars was just fucking amazing. Was just, with the motion, stop motion animation and everything, and then also the song that had like this sinister horror undertone to it in a way. And I liked it more. And I don't know, that doesn't mean that the second one should be rewarded, but I also feel stronger about some of the other ones on this list. So,
yeah, we've got Love Supreme from Kobayashi's Dragon Maid S. It's just a fun song.
It's so fun.
And there's so much going on. There's so much going on in the intro sequence.
It's so catchy. I mean, I already like the first OP of Dragon Maid, but this is arguably maybe better.
Fauna kind of took what she did with the first song and was like, let's just push it like 5 steps further, and it's really good.
Arguably has the best opening, the best opening seconds of probably any of the OPs here, because just the fucking the intoxicating chant at the beginning and all the characters just fucking moving to the music and all zooming into the screen and everything. It's just so you immediately pulled in just because of the fucking rhythm and what the characters are doing and the singing and everything. It's just so it grabs you.
Man, they reached back. Kiani reached back into their catalog with that zooming thing, because it took me a second to be like, "What? Why is this so familiar?" And I was like, "Nichijou."
Yeah, absolutely, Nichijou. Yes,
and it's so good. It worked there, and it works here.
Yes, absolutely, perfect. Arguably, maybe even better than Nichijou. I like that song better than the Nichijou song, I gotta say. Even, in the beginning, it's just, the fun, basically the two characters talking to each other, with the two singers and everything, have some conversation, basically. And then it actually culminates in this actually really cool chorus, at the end of that OP, basically, where it is actually singing and not just, speaking, basically. So it's really cool. I love that song to death. I think it's fantastic. It's super catchy. It's just fun all around. It's just like it puts you in a good mood. Or Taxi puts you in a kind of mellow, slightly depressed mood, maybe. And Dragon really well, though. Dragon Maid puts you in like the best mood you can have at this very moment in time. So
Yeah.
it's really speaking about though depressing and moods, Attack on Titan. Holy shit, this is our war. Just our war.
I think it's specifically my war.
My war, right. It's not our war, it's my war. Boku no Senso. That also, again, relates to one of the characters, to Eren. Very much so. And it's this very different OP to what we had earlier in the previous season. I mean, we had one outlier with, what was it called? Not Redfall. I forgot. The OP to the first part of season 3. That was more, more of a slow, quiet song. Felt more a bit like, I don't know, I don't want to even say a love song, but felt more melancholic. While all the other things by, was it Revo who did the other Attack on Titan OPs?
Yeah, I mean, Revo did
I think
a bunch of them.
Yes, but most of the Attack on Titan OPs are like this fucking glorious battle hymns, right? Sasageo, for example, is ridiculous. And this felt completely different. Like, Boku no Senso feels like, oh, everything is going to hell.
Mm-hmm.
We're at war now, and war is horrible, so we want to convey that in this OP. So we're just going to do that with the visuals, atom bombs everywhere.
And it works really well.
Yes, it works fantastically. It really gives you a good introduction into what this season of Attack on Titan is all about. So I can't complain in that regard. It's just like, I like some of the other songs better. Well, for Attack on Titan, I guess that's my only gripe with it. I think it's good. It's a good song, and it, again, serves that particular season very well. But in terms of, that's not a song I necessarily listen to after watching the OP. And if that is also a part of why the OP is so good, then maybe it wouldn't be my pick. Do you agree, or is it like,
I mean, I kind of like this song a lot just because it was different than anything we had previously.
I can see that.
And man, just if you look at those lyrics,
yeah, I did.
Something about children cling to their coins, squeezing out their wisdom.
Oh boy.
Oh.
Wow. Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah, can't argue with that. It's a really great OP, really great introduction to this season. The last thing on the list is a bias. I fucking love this song. I love Vivid Vice so fucking much. Fucking love that song, and I fucking love the OP and the way it's structured, where it has like this very slow ramping up. It's the OP to the second season of Jujutsu Kaisen, by the way. And it just starts with this one guitar strum, and then, it slowly builds up with a bit of drums here and there, and, the singing, and then it really goes into this fucking riveting rock song that just grabs you and doesn't let go. And then by the end of it, they do like a drum solo basically again and reverse everything that you saw in the OP up to this point back to the guitar from the beginning, and just one more strum, and it's perfect. It's a perfect ending. It's a perfect circle motion, and it's so good. And the guitar actually relates to one of the characters in the show, which I didn't know before watching the show. And it's one of those aha moments. And I love Vivid Vice so much. It's such a good song. It just caters to my specific taste, so that's why I said it's a bias. I feel like in terms of introducing us to a show and getting the mood of a show across, or Taxi, Attack on Titan, and maybe Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid maybe do a better job. But this is just, I love rock and roll. I love metal. I love all things that have loud guitars in them, I guess. And Vivid Vice is just a really good rock song. And then great visuals. You get some foreshadowing for the fights in the second season. I probably would have given it to Vivid Vice and to that OP, but also the other ones like Dragon Maid probably, and with Odd Dexy both on second place, following very quickly after that, and on in the third or fourth place, whatever you might call it, it would probably be Attack on Titan for me. So, I don't know what your order would be, John. Attack on Titan won, by the way. So if
Yes,
that
it did.
is that,
Which I'm fine with that.
yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm fine with that too. It's a great OP. It wouldn't have been my personal pick, but I can't complain about it being a winner here in this category because, yeah, it works.
I would have loved to have seen Skate the Infinity or Sakugan's
Yes.
OPs on this list.
Yes, you're absolutely right. They should have been there.
But it is what it is. This lineup is pretty strong, though. I can't argue it.
Agreed.
Like we've had some issues with some of the other ones, but this lineup in particular, these are all really strong choices. So as for which one I'd pick personally,
What's the best combination of song and OP out of all of these? Where you're like, yeah, this is hitting all the right buttons for me.
Love Supreme.
Yeah, I would have guessed.
Yeah.
And like I said, any other day, probably. Like if I watch Dragon Maid right now, I will pick that OP because it's so good and it's so catchy. But if I watch Jujutsu Kaisen after that, the second season, and with Advice plays, I probably would pick that again. So
it was the same problem with Mob Psycho 100 because the first time you hear in scene 99, it's like, oh, that's really good. Then you see 99.9, and you're like, 91.9 can go in the trash.
It's a perfect song, but it can go in the trash. Oh man, there's so many good anime OPs out there. We are blessed, and we definitely were blessed in regards to anime OPs in the last year, which this list shows. It's always great having a hard time to pick a winner in a category because that means there are a lot of good choices. Best animation, John. What do we have?
We got Demon Slayer. Again, specifically the Mugen Train arc.
Are you against that?
I mean, UFO table on a movie budget. We already said it.
Yeah, enough said, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
It's crisp. They utilize CG mostly in a really good way, except for these weird slime thingies, which is a rare feat.
I still really like. I think I said this during the first season. I still really love the effects of the water when Tanjiro is doing his water breathing. That I love the look of that so much. Like the fire breathing slashes, that's cool, but the water breathing one looks so dynamic. And every time that's on screen, I'm like, yeah, that's cool.
Has this strong outline, like it's something extracted from a woodcut painting or something like that, but also being kind of 3D-ish and these vibrant colors and everything. It's just a really cool style, and it's animated super fluidly and well. You're right, it's fantastic. Like all of these look great, and in general, it's just crisp UFO table style to the max. They're so good at what they do. So yeah, can't complain about that. And that one, giving that away right now. And I can't argue against that. I wish I could, I guess, but I can't. But there's so many other good contenders here. We also have Vivi, who, again, fantastic, especially when the battle scenes, but also, the concert scenes look fantastic, the animation in that. You got some really great, subtle facial animations in that show that are really well done and give Vivi a lot of character. So yeah, fantastic. Could have picked that as well. Can't say much about Wonder Egg Priority or Mushoku Tensei. What I saw of Wonder Egg Priority was animated very well.
And when Cloverworks puts in the effort.
When they put in the effort, yeah. Though I heard the production got strained later on, so I don't know. Maybe animation budget also tanked in a certain aspect. Maybe it didn't. I can't say anything about it because I haven't watched enough of it. So let's scratch that. Mushoku Tensei, I've seen clips that look fucking amazing, which is also one of the reasons I want to check it out. And I think Studio Bind is a new studio. So I'm interested to see what they're working on next, probably the second season of Mushoku Tensei. But yeah, so can't say much about that either because just judging from clips, that doesn't seem fair. So that might only be 10% of the show or something, and the rest might look like trash. I don't think so, but it might be the case.
I hope not.
Yeah, probably not. But so these two are out. So the other two we have left are first Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, which is it's KyoAni. So what do
How
you
are
have to say?
How are you going to argue against Kyoto Animation?
Like, you can't. You fucking can't. I feel like also they deserve this win after the shit that happened to them.
Yeah.
Maybe I would have even given it to Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid because it's so bubbly and it's so entertaining. There's so many endearing small things animated in this show. A lot of attention paid to big standout animation moments, but also subtle character gestures when it comes to the little things Kana does because she's still a child that makes her look like an actual child. And, the little things like when Toru does a particular thoughtful gesture, a touch or something like that in regards to her relationship to Kobayashi. There's a lot of stuff like that in there. And I think that's great. And it just shows how experienced and great Kyoto Animation still are. And I'm glad they came back from the horrible experience that they suffered and in stride. So good on them. And I would have given it to them just for that probably, because that's not something you overcome easily. And that Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid as a testament to their capability of an animation studio and their level of quality and everything, and all the talented people that are working there. So I would have given it to them. The last contender, Jujutsu Kaisen, and we already talked at length about what a crazy man Sungwoo Park is and what he manages to wring out of MAPPA as a studio on a consistent basis, mind you. Like I said, core 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen, like from beginning to end, there are maybe some spotty environment scenes when they fight in the woods, because the woods seem a bit too overly colored. There's a bit too bright green in there because it's CG and it's moving around the characters. Maybe a bit too much foliage that makes it look a bit weird or aliasy. But aside from those few little dents in the perfect chalice here, this second season just looked fucking amazing. It's just fucking crazy. Like, it's MAPPA at their best. I wouldn't. The second part of the final season of Attack on Titan looks great. It can't hold a candle to the second core of Jujutsu Kaisen, in my opinion.
No, absolutely not.
So, damn. This is definitely, I don't think... I would have to check the other MAPPA shows that I maybe now don't remember, but I feel like Jujutsu Kaisen is the best animation-wise they have delivered until now, especially the second season. So they could have won that too. Demon Slayer can win it, sure. I'm fine with that, right? It's fantastic animation, especially the Mugen Train arc, because it's kind of unfair because the other things are TV shows, and it's from a movie. It's just also in a TV show.
Yeah.
So it's a bit unfair, maybe, that one, because what you gotta do. But yeah, I would have probably given it to Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. Yes, just to honor Kyoto Animation because they deserve it, and now more so than ever, just to show my appreciation that they are still willing to pull through and actually deliver such a well-produced, good-looking show with a lot of standout animation in it. I don't know, how did you feel about? Do you feel about the contenders here, and which one would you have picked?
I mean, Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer's always going to look good because it's going to have that UFO table grit and budget. But yeah, I feel like I would have gone with Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. That's not to say that I didn't appreciate Vivi or Jujutsu Kaisen, because they are both incredibly produced shows as well. But I feel like KyoAni deserves this.
Yes, they do. And sure, any other day, under any circumstances, I would have chosen Demon Slayer or Jujutsu Kaisen. Probably Jujutsu Kaisen, because it was just maybe that kind of kinetic style is even more to my liking than what I see from UFO Table. I don't fucking know, because UFO Table stuff is also so impeccable, and it would have been impossible probably to choose between those two. But just because what happened to KyoAni and what they delivered afterwards, and are still delivering regardless, and me enjoying that show so much, and the animation of course being a giant part of that. And even you mentioned very versatile. There are a lot of great comedic shots. That's also animation needs to hit for those sometimes really well to make them work even better than they do. Writing also is, of course, and direction is a big part of that. But animation, especially in this kind of comedy, is very important. And then you have, like I said, some neat, subtle character animation scenes, but also you have some standout action scenes in this. You have a fucking literal dragon fight and a dragon woman fight. So they were able to flex all of their muscles, and that's great. So you have some of that in Demon Slayer as well. There are some great character animation moments in there as well, but the standouts are definitely the action scenes, and that's the same for Jujutsu Kaisen. So yeah, I'm totally fine with Demon Slayer winning this. It's well deserved. It's, like I said, Ufotable on the movie budget. What more can you say? So it's okay. All right, John, we have arrived after, almost 3 hours of recording, I guess.
It's been a little bit.
Yes, I'm glad I didn't schedule any review for this. I think we had another episode in another year where we also had a review aside from the talk about the awards, which is a crazy thought at this point. So, all right, let's get to it. Last category, obviously.
It's anime of the year.
Yes, anime of the year, John.
Of the forever. I mean, what?
So what are the contenders?
First up is 86.
I don't know why. I mean, it's a good show. Is it anime of the year candidate? I don't think so. I probably would have given its spot to Fruits Basket.
Yeah, no, 100%. Jujutsu Kaisen split across the end of the year because we can't. I guess at this point it's more fair to judge Jujutsu Kaisen than it was last year. There needs to be some consistency here, though. And I'm gonna keep harping on that. I'm gonna harp on it some more when we talk about who actually won. Jujutsu Kaisen was great. We just got done talking about what an incredible production it was, and how great the characters are, and the music, and everything. Yeah, that's a good choice. That's a solid choice. There was Ranking of Kings, which you are currently watching.
Still not finished.
Is it still airing?
I think so. Yes, I think it's still airing. If not, it just wrapped up. But I think it's still airing, so I don't feel like it should be on this list.
Right. Sunny Boy.
Sunny Boy definitely can. There could be an argument made for this, just because it was such an ambitious project and it's such a clear vision of Shingo Natsume, and Madhouse went all out, probably delivered some of the best animation they've done in ages, and just it being this very unique vision, very kind of big mystery box story, but also about really big themes and really big emotions in a certain way, but told in a very intimate way to an extent, and in this very unique animation style, character design, everything. So yeah, sure, it's one of those shows that you rarely get because it's such a unique thing. So for that, it should probably be recognized and belongs on this list. So yeah, even though I didn't fully connect to it, I only connected to some parts of it, and I didn't get all of it, I think it deserves to be on the shortlist for the nominees for Anime of the Year. So yeah, I'm fine with it being on this list. Probably would have complained if it won, but it didn't. So doesn't mean that I won't complain. But yeah, we'll see.
Next up is Odd Taxi.
Yes.
What haven't we said? Shut up and watch this show.
Shut up and watch the show. Pitch perfect writing, pitch perfect directing, great music, fantastic characters, fantastic visuals. It's the full package. Odd Taxi is the full fucking package. It doesn't get any better than this, and it also is a very unique show that you don't really get to see in anime that much in terms of style, in terms of what it's doing, in terms of the storytelling, how its characters are structured and are basically put together in this story, and how they interact with each other, how they influence each other, and how their stories connect with each other. It's like this really intricate web of character stories that shouldn't work, considering how complex it is and how many fucking loose ends there are at some point, but regardless, it manages to wrap it up all by the end pretty successfully and satisfyingly. And that is fantastic. And we're getting a movie. I don't think we need one. The ending, even though it was open, very open-ended, was perfect. I hope the movie doesn't make a dent in that, doesn't ruin that. I doubt it. But if it does, you can disregard the movie and just watch the series and be fine with it. So it's one of those perfect anime, in my opinion. I can't see any flaw with it, really. I couldn't when I watched it. If I revisit it, maybe I'll find something. Maybe the pacing will be too slow for me now that I know what it's all leading up towards. And it means, hurry up, we don't really need that. Maybe some of the scenes with the comedy duo, maybe I will like, I don't want to spend that much time with them. But also maybe I will be like, holy shit, these characters are now more endearing to me than they were on the first watch. Now I get what these characters are about and I want to spend more time with them. So I don't know. But on my first watch, this is one of those shows where it's like, this is only one season and it manages to tell a fantastic story from beginning to end in just a couple of episodes. And I don't feel like anything was left on the cutting room floor and anything was left out that we definitely needed. And it's just this really fucking perfect tight package. And John, that would have been my clear winner. I don't know about you.
Big same. Big same. But the winner was Attack on Titan Final Season Part 1.
Too early.
Come on, guys. Come on.
Again, I'm glad that people still like Attack on Titan. Hell, I love still Attack on Titan right now. That might change by the end of the show, depending on what the exclamation point of that show is. I've said it before in our review of Final Season Part 1. But this is too early. It's not over. And I get why it's on here. Of course, it's a big turnaround. It's a completely different show at this point than it was before, at least in many aspects. And it did a complete turn, made one of our main characters a maybe villain, very successful way. It keeps us guessing all to the end. It still keeps us guessing right now what's going to happen, how it will turn out, what will happen in the end. And it's a riveting roller coaster ride from beginning to end. It's fantastic. It's not over yet. We don't know what it leads up to. I feel like it's way too early to give it this award this year. And we had the same problem with Jujutsu Kaisen Season 1 last year. And it's just like, no, not yet. Wait till Part 2 is finished. Then give it that award. It makes sense. You have a much better contender this year in Odd Taxi. You have this closed-off series that tells a complete story and is unique and is fantastic and is full of compelling characters. And you don't know what if Attack on Titan final season will deliver on its promises by the end. We don't know that yet. It has delivered on some promises. What we don't know how it ends yet. So don't give it its laurels yet. Wait. Don't trust Isayama yet. He's a sneaky man. But I trust the creators of Odd Taxi because they delivered a fucking great show, a perfect show in my opinion. So I would have picked that without a doubt. And I know why Attack on Titan won. It's the big show, just like Jujutsu Kaisen was. And I'm glad that people, like I said, still watch it and still like it. It could have gone another way because this new season is just so different and just completely turns everything on its head and changes the cast up. And that could have gone so wrong and it could have pissed off so many people. And it pissed off some people, definitely. But apparently not enough to not make it Anime of the Year. So that's good. Still, I feel like Odd Taxi deserved it more. So I would have liked to see that one. Hell, the other big contender isn't even on this list for me, which is Fruits Basket, final season. Which is like...
Snubbed again.
There is a show that wrapped up its story last year that had a lot of seasons beforehand and told a complete story with a satisfying ending that was, running for a long time and that maybe deserved... It deserved to be on this shortlist, definitely. But also maybe it deserved to get the award. I don't know. Standing up against Odd Taxi is a tough choice, but I could have seen an argument for that. I could have seen, this is a great adaptation. Odd Taxi is unique, is very interesting, and is, like I said, perfect package. But Fruits Basket worked up to its deserving finale so effectively, and it took its time, and it gave all the characters their due, and that also should have been rewarded, at least with a nomination. Why it's not on here, I can't say. Like I said, that 86 is on this list, but Fruits Basket doesn't seem right. Doesn't seem right. But Odd Taxi was on it. It should have won, but at least it was on it, and that would have been John's and my pick for Anime of the Year. And it is. It is.
Absolutely.
It was best of the season, at least for John. Oddly enough, there was from spring, and John, you chose Odd Taxi, I chose Fruits Basket, the final, and that would have been probably our two contenders for Anime of the Year, because that was just a very strong season. One got snubbed, the other one kind of also got snubbed, but at least it was on the list. And I feel like, again, the anime one, that was the newest one, and that people are still watching, so it's fresh on their mind. And that's maybe probably the main reason. Just like with Jujutsu Kaisen Season 1, why it won. It's always apparently the anime that is the newest.
Yeah, I mean, I saw someone... I'd have to dig the tweet up now, but I saw someone talking about recency bias, and oh boy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Although, with that logic, Demon Slayer could also have been on this list. I'm actually a bit surprised that it isn't, that 86 is on here and not Demon Slayer in terms of popularity things. Because it was already on animation and won some other awards, but I feel like apparently they don't care if the show is finished or not to nominate it as Attack on Titan or Ranking of Kings shows or Jujutsu Kaisen or 86, really. So I'm a bit surprised that Demon Slayer didn't make it in here, considering how well regarded that movie was, and by virtue of that, the TV adaptation of that. So, strange. Ranking of Kings and 86 probably should have not been on here. They should wait until next year, I guess. So, yeah, weird. I mean, like I said, I understand why Attack on Titan was picked, but yeah, our choice would have been a different one, just like last year. I think I didn't even know what our choice would have been last year. Don't remember, but
I don't remember either. Oops.
I don't think it was Jujutsu Kaisen. So, all right, yeah. So I hope for all our sakes that Attack on Titan actually shows us that it's deserving of this award. By the time it wraps up, in how many episodes are left, John? I don't even know how many episodes part 2 is supposed to have.
7 more episodes, apparently.
All right. Okay. Then we'll see 7 more episodes, really. So it's a full season? Didn't expect that. Or even more than that.
Part 2 is 12 episodes, so.
Okay. Yeah, well, I didn't expect that, actually. So I expected it to be less episodes. Because I think part 1 was a bit over length, right? Didn't have 16 or something?
Yeah, it was a weird number. I can't remember how. 16 or 18?
Yeah, something like that. So yeah, we'll see. I have my hopes up. I hope Attack on Titan delivers. Like I said, I want this to be one of my favorite anime of all time. So let's hope it will get there. I didn't expect actually to be that many episodes left. So I wonder what twists and turns Isayama is going to throw at us in the coming episodes. This is going to be interesting. Anyway, it won Best Anime for last year, but it shouldn't have. That's all we're going to say. All the power to Odd Taxi. Odd Taxi is, in my opinion, the clear winner, and in John's opinion, and that's our final say on this matter. If you gathered anything from our very long discussion on this topic, is that there are a bunch of anime that you should check out for one reason or another from last year if you haven't done it. So if you want to see a really good antagonist, definitely check out Skate. If you want to see some best boys, also check out Skate. If you want to see a best girl, check out Fruits Basket. Also, if you want to see really good drama and really good romance, check also out Fruit Basket. Just check out Fruits Basket in general. If you want to check out kick-ass action fight scenes, watch Jujutsu Kaisen and Demon Slayer. And yeah, there is so much other good stuff out there that if you haven't checked those out yet, use these. These anime award lists are always good lists, at least for giving you an idea what shows you maybe missed out on and maybe should check out. And I hope with giving us our impressions that we might have swayed you towards some shows more than others. And with that, the final word, or the final words, as they have been uttered many times already on these shows, are go and watch Odd Taxi.
Just do it.
And that is a wrap on the 125th episode of Anime Brain Freeze. All the music in our show is from the Double Dragon Neon soundtrack by the amazing Jake Kaufman. Please go to virt.bandcamp.com and check out his awesome work. Our show is available on most of the popular podcast services, but it's always worth visiting animebrainfreeze.com for our review index and more. Leave us comments and questions on YouTube, follow us on Twitter at AnyBrainFreeze, or send an email to animebrainfreeze@gmail.com. We would love to read your feedback. Thanks for tuning in. We hope you had a good time, and please join us again on our next episode. Macht's gut.
So long, everybody. Next time on Anime Brain Freeze.
The story of an orphan taken in by a powerful family.
Haunted by visions of bloodshed, violence, and civil war.